crazy passes that looked like one, but obviously we can't see anything from where we sit. Porzingis catch, deep three, got it. Are you serious with this return for Porzingis? 7 of 9, 2 of 3 from distance, 18 points in 11 minutes, and the Celtics lead by 28.
Well, it's some Joe show. We've seen it. Nobody wants to be there. It's some big bad show tonight. Just can't take this damn parade. Who cares? Yeah, Joe show. There's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a...
Welcome in 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray with you this Friday night until 11 o'clock right here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Oh, it feels like 1 a.m. was just a few hours ago as we took you all night long. Cerrone Battle was a part of it, and he's here to start us off on this Friday night here on the Sports Hub. And I'll just I'll set the table for us, Cerrone. Okay. We're gonna have some fun. I want you to get involved in or out tonight. Maybe you've heard this segment before, but we come up with some things where you're either in or out on them. So we'll do that. Towards the end of your stay here. We're going to talk with Tom Giles from NBC Sports Boston. He's the host of the pre- and post-game show for the Celtics. So we'll have him on, and we'll do a lot tonight here on the show. As Cerrone, I see him. I can see you on the VMix, which is our YouTube channel, where last night we had 400 people watching after the Celtics win. So that's good, man. People were watching. They were excited. I know we kind of got in depth about a lot of things last night. I think your big leadoff take was how good they were defensively, and I actually found a stat this season, which just think about how wild this is. When the Celtics hold an opponent under 100 points, do you know that they're 24-0 this season, including the playoffs? That is a wild number. So I wanted to share that because we all saw the Kristaps Porzingis thing. You brought up the defense, and when they hold them under 100, 24-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's with all the attention being on this team offensively and all the records that they've, broken, most 20-plus point wins, averaging 122, whatever it is, a game, them in Indiana. Everybody forgets they're also one of the best defensive teams in the league as well. So they can get it done on both ends. And I figured that would be a key to their team. A key to the series, not just how good they are offensively, but how good they can be versus a team that's really one-dimensional, kind of predictable how they run their offense. And they keeping Luka to 1 assist. I couldn't have predicted. No, nobody could have predicted that. But it was a game plan, the way they stayed home on their guys. And that defense, I think, is what carried them, even when they had off nights shooting the three, which I complained about. But their defense is what got them to 64 wins and separating themselves from the rest of the league.
A quote after the game last night from Joe Mazzulla: "Our identity has been made on the defensive end, and we have proven that." It's good. Nice quote by him, considering people think that, I call it Mazzulla ball because I think it works. I think it's how they're going to win the championship, by shooting more threes and passing the ball and winning the margins, which they certainly did last night. But I go back to that 2022 team. And Ime Udoka, like, his style was to be physical and play defense.
Yeah,
they had all the offensive talent. Maybe the group couldn't put it together yet. They obviously didn't have the pieces that they do now. But I just want to ask you, what's the biggest difference in the defensive game plan from when Ime Udoka was here, in your opinion, to now? I know the players is the easy thing, but because Mazzulla even talked about being on the team and on that bench, and talked about why he thinks they lost. But what do you see as far as the difference in a defensive-minded team from then to now?
I think now the difference is this team now is more scheme. It's a defensive scheme. It's kind of like, I know you don't like to cross sports, but it's like a good football team. Some teams have good defenses because they have good talent, and some teams are good defenses because the defensive coordinator or the head coach, Bill Belichick, is a defensive genius. So it doesn't really matter who he throws out there. He just has the right game plan that can win it. You know, like you see the Ravens over the last 20 coordinators are in and out or whatever. But I think with the Celtics, it's this year it's strategy. They're linked together. It's the way they take things away from teams. Whereas I think that team a couple years ago, you know, the Rob Williams and Marcus Smart and those type, Grant Williams, just being physical with guys, just being, you know, Rob Williams is an athletic freak. I'm going to get up there and block that. I don't care if I'm late on my rotation. I can make up for that. Derek White was there. He came second half of the season when they kind of made their run, but it was more of the talent was their physical style was the difference. Whereas this team, I think it's more strategy based, and I think it's why they're winning. Whereas that team in 22, when things got tight with Steph Curry, they didn't have a strategy to get the ball in his hands. They didn't have a strategy to make somebody else beat them. Whereas this team, I think they have more of a strategy to make you play left-handed and make you do something you don't want to do, like we saw from Dallas last night. So I think this year is strategy, whereas a couple years ago it was all about physical talent, and Udoka want his guys to be physical at the point of the attack and not letting anybody get beat off the dribble.
Well, just to use your football analogy, you know, just to with Bill Belichick, when he had the players with the skill, they could run a little bit of a different defense, right? Mm-hmm. When you have, you know, Darrelle Revis on the football field, you could show a few different pass rush looks, right? It is the talent a little bit there. But to your point, they're doing things that they couldn't do before because of who's on the court. You know, the rushing, the blitzing, you know, Luka Doncic, the pick and roll action. I mean, last night they would either blitz or back off, or at times just go one-on. I mean, Sam Hauser at one point is one-on-one with Luka Doncic. So, yeah, to your point, they have a scheme now that I don't know if it was talked about after the game. People were kind of making a big deal about the timeout on the, you know, when it became an 8-point game, which I do want to give him credit for that. But the credit was they started going to the basket, but they played defense all night long. And just, you're right, that scheme, man. This is something I don't remember with Ime Udoka.
Yeah, and there wasn't many blown assignments. There wasn't much confusion. We saw that in some of the earlier series where I think it was against Cleveland, and they had a lot of situations against Indiana where guys looking at each other like my fault. Last night, you mentioned Hauser. There was a situation where he switched and he jumped right on his man, and him and Al Horford switched off back and forth. He moved his feet, and then they transitioned, just passing guys off to each other. That's 9 days off of watching film over and over again. That's film study. That's coaching. You got to give him credit for that. And the reason I give Missoula a lot of credit, it wasn't your usuals. It wasn't always Holiday. It wasn't Jaylen Brown had his defensive moments for sure. But it wasn't just those guys. Hauser came in. Pritchard came in making plays. Al Horford on the perimeter. He had Kyrie stumbling, which is something you don't see from a guy his size or his age. And because they knew where they knew where the help was, they knew where the rotations were, and most importantly, they were keeping them to one and done. They would miss Tatum, clean up the glass, let's push, kick out, layup, three, whatever we're going to get, and it was just a perfect team effort. And I think that's the difference. Now they can play that way now because guys are older, guys are more mature, they've been there, they're not panicking, they're not blowing assignments. So that goes to the players. But I think there was a group effort from the coaches down to the players last night that you saw the preparation, you know, just explode in front of Dallas, and they had no answers for what the Celtics were doing defensively.
All right, well, leading it off there tonight, not sure if people have talked about the defense on this team. All I heard about was the three-pointers and Kristaps Porzingis and, you know, Tatum's night and whatever. Like, this team has an identity, and who would have thought that its defense going into the NBA Finals up 1-0 in the series. And I wanted to just kind of dig in a little bit more of Luka Doncic's night and what the Celtics did defensively in the matchup. So we'll start there. We'll get into that on the other side here. Cerrone Battle's here. You can see him on YouTube. He's got the nice Red Sox hat going tonight. People in the chat are talking about it, and you can call in tonight as well at 617-779-0985. We got Skaz here as well. Cerrone Battle on the other side as well. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
Al is open, three in the air, got it.
Hey,
This is going to be a fast-paced game.
For all the discussion of whether the Celtics could slow down Kyrie and Luka, not enough people talked about Dallas's offense slowing it down. It looked like a turnover, and it is. Jaylen Brown flies in two-hand slam. Everybody stopped and thought a foul was called, but Luka just...
Sports Hub of Joe Murray. We got Cerrone Battle here. We were on last night until 1 a.m., so we're kind of unpacking some things that maybe we didn't get to. And I sent this over in an email today regarding just some of the matchups and the tracking data. And just Luka Doncic last night, we kind of got into it a bit, but I hope this isn't going to turn into the Luka Doncic playing on a bad knee and, look at the Celtics run, right? Look who, and by the way, just to give a take on that, I do think that they have been physical with every team they've played, right? Like, I know Miami, was playing without Butler, but they were physical against them.
He wouldn't have made a difference.
He wouldn't have. You're right. He wouldn't have. It would have been, maybe people thought it would have been. But, I look at Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, they played him physical. That's why he couldn't play. Halliburton, they were physical. They had to be physical. I know it's a hamstring, but, the Celtics are playing physical basketball on the offensive end and the defensive end. And I have a feeling that Doncic, who's a great player and played well last night, and we'll get into his defensive numbers because they were awful, but just the Celtics last night, per NBA tracking data, Jaylen Brown was 3 for 3 for 6 points with 2 turnovers with Luka Doncic guarding him in game 1. But on the other side of it, Doncic guarding Brown, woof, right? Drew Holiday, all these guys. And I think last night with certain players as the primary defender, they did well defensively against Luka, but the other way around is what I'm looking at. Luka was brutal, as you would say, Cerrone. He was barbecue chicken last night, and there's numbers and stats to show how bad Luka was, and I just think that that's something people are missing. He has been playing good defense, but last night when it came to rotations and moving over, he wanted none of it last night.
Well, here's the thing, and I mentioned this earlier. I put it up on Twitter. I was just looking around and noticed, people getting on the Celtics for beating the Cavs, beating the Pacers, Cavs shorthanded, whatever. Dallas lost to both of those teams all season. They couldn't beat Indiana. They couldn't beat Cleveland. They're 0-7 against the Celtics, Cavs, and Pacers. And I bring that up because the Pacers absolutely destroyed the Mavericks this season. I think every game was like 20 points, something crazy like that. They were never close. And the reason is when Dallas plays teams that move with pace, multiple scoring options, where Luka or Kyrie can't hide, they get smoked. And throughout the playoffs, you're talking about the Celtics catching a break. Yeah, they did. But when you have the best record in the league, the whole point of getting the best record is to get the easiest path, which they did. But when the Dallas played the Clippers, there was no Kawhi Leonard. So there was guys out on the court where Luka could chill on. He could hide. I'm going to let James Harden, I'm going to let these other guys handle James Harden and Paul George, and I'll just watch Westbrook just throw up bad shots all night, not even defend him. He was standing 20 feet away from Westbrook the whole series. You go to the next series. Yep, Chet was good. I think it was Jamal Williams, whatever his name is, excuse me, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those guys are good. After that, it was Dort and a bunch of guys you've never heard of. And Luka was over there with his hands on his knees, just on the weak side, just chilling. And Reggie Miller screaming, somebody go at Luka. He's not going to play defense. No one did it. Gets to the Western Conference Finals. Yep, the slow-mo Anderson's over there, or they put him on Gobert or something like that. Just guys that weren't going to do anything. McDaniels just is a spot-up shooter, and he was able to chill. Coming into this series, everyone said he's not going to be able to hide. Jason Tatum kind of threw a little jab in his post-game press conference. We don't have guys. You can't hide on none of our guys. And he was able to try and lay low. Celtics exposed that. They went after him and Tatum. And it was so much his face started turning red. He started rubbing his shoulder. He's holding his knee because he had no chance at resting. And when you make them work, when him and Kyrie have to work, their shooting percentages tend to plummet. And that's who they've been their whole career. And this is nothing new. It's been that way all season, their whole career. I think Jay Williams from ESPN put a stat out there. The Dallas Mavericks have a better defensive rating when Luka's on the bench over his whole career. Like every single time he leaves, they get better defensively. He's been that way every single year of his career. So when you attack him, that's his weakness. And the Celtics exploited it. And that's not going to change between now and Sunday.
No, they're going to make him work. And just the 3 games this year where Luka has gone up against the Celtics back in January, he gave up 24 points as the primary defender. March 1st, he gave up 30. Last night, he gave up 23. So, I think as great as Luka is a player, he is. He's a phenomenal player. He hurts them, and they're identifying. My question is, why are they putting him on Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, they have no other choice. I think because the other guys are quicker. So they figure he's slow. So maybe a bigger guy, he can move his feet a little bit and get in his way. Whereas somebody like a Holiday or White, well, Holiday is about the same size as Luka. He's more athletic. But I think they feel he can move his feet to defend Brown in a certain way, whereas Derek White or somebody like Tatum, no shot. His stride is too long. He's too big. He's one dribble from the top of the key, and he's at the rim. He's just too big for Luka. And the other guys, I think, are too quick. So they look at Jaylen and say, well, I guess we're just going to have to pick him. And he's getting burnt because of it. And they're using the other defenders to double and at some point triple Jason Tatum. So it leaves Luka with Jaylen Brown on an island on the other side, and it's not working out well. And I don't think they have a real option for that. And they're just going to have to hope guys miss shots when he's defending them, or he's going to have to be more physical, but that might put him into foul trouble. So it's a tough spot to be in, but he's their number one guy, number one usage guy in the league. They can't play without him. So they're just going to have to figure out a way to help him, and it's going to free up other guys, unfortunately for them.
Luke, after the game, said that the Celtics spacing was great, and they have a ton of shooters. He also said, I think we have to do a better job taking those threes away. And if you look at it, the Celtics wide open threes all night. They shot 38% from 3. 7 different players made 2 or more threes. But the problem for Dallas is just Doncic, right? He creates those open looks for the Celtics. And, he's dealing with an injury. We're going to see it, right? It's slowing his mobility. I credit the Celtics for going at him and kind of making some of those adjustments there. But, Doncic all night long, though, it was kind of his judgment. There were a lot of still shots of, it showed Dallas kind of being on the same page, but he was the guy that wasn't. And that little run that they made, they went at him on the pick and roll, and he didn't go over, and they attacked him. That's how they somewhat got back into the game there. And it was the dribble drives. He couldn't stop it. Drew Holiday had a couple of them, as you mentioned, just by him. Luka's a great player, but he might score 30, but he's going to give up 30. And that's the problem. I don't think they have enough after that.
No, that's the big problem. And Kyrie was a part of it too. It was a play. I think he was on Tatum when Tatum caught it in the paint. With his back, he just one dribble spin and he dunked on 3 guys. And it was like there was nothing Kyrie can do about it. On a Jaylen Brown dunk, he beats Luka off the dribble. Kyrie comes over to help. Jaylen Brown's another foot higher than Kyrie Irving. It was like nothing you're going to do over here. And then he dunked on Gafford. So it's both of those guys are so important to them that they can't take them out. They can't do anything. You have to leave them out there if you're going to plan on scoring. But because they're working so hard on the defensive end, it's taking away their legs on the offensive end, and shots were short. They were forcing it far. Luka shot a free throw at one point in the game. Looked like he was trying to miss it on purpose. It was so bad, but he was tired. And that's why those guys came out with 5-6 minutes left in the fourth. They were gassed. And then that's after having a 6-day layoff. But, they're going to blame the Luka knee situation. But this is what happened in January. This is what happened in March. They did the same thing to him. There's nothing he can do about it. And as far as them and their rim protection, once you beat Kyrie and Luka and you got a full head of steam, Lively had no choice but to stand there and just draw fouls. He had no choice. Gafford is out there getting dunked on. And Derek Jones is just too thin. They were toying with him on both ends of the ball. He got like 3 dunks blocked down the other end. They're dunking on him, going right past him. And eventually you have to look at it and say, there's no adjustment for their size, for the Celtics speed, their talent, and their depth. There's no real game plan but to pray they miss and you score 125 and try and beat them that way on the other end. That's the only way Dallas is going to win games in this series.
So I a couple other things I wanted to mention. Just Luka was really good last night, but on the Celtics defensive end, Al Horford, when he was the primary defender last night, Luka went 1 for 8. Kyrie went 2 for 5. And I just, we all saw Al versus Donovan Mitchell, right? It didn't work in that series. We've seen him against Giannis before, but yet why is Al such a good matchup as a primary defender versus Luka and Kyrie?
Cerebral, man. That guy has seen so much basketball, and it never was about Al Horford's skill or his mindset. One of the smartest players on this team, probably one of the smartest players of his era. Dominant, smart guy from college on through. The guy's been an all-star without being athletic or anything else because he's one of those guys. I'm pretty sure he sat there with the remote in his hand at home, rewinding, fast forward, pausing, watching all their moves, their hesitation moves, their gather steps. They like this. When I'm playing them this way, they like the jab step right and lift that elbow this way. Al Horford's watching all of that. And the key to what the whole thing is, with Porzingis back, Al gets to take his breaks. Now he's fresh. So before, when his mind's like, oh, I can jump out on Donovan Mitchell here, he was so tired. He was a step slow, an inch slow. He was fresh all night because they kept throwing Porzingis out there. Now he's good to go. So he was reading them. He was anticipating their moves. He was jumping out on Kyrie. Kyrie would go to crossover right. Al Horford jumped there first. He jumped back. Kyrie stumbles. He's right there with his hands up. Did the same thing that Luka, blocks a three-point attempt, and he was all over the place, but that's mental. He understands the game. He understands their movement, their footwork, and when they like to go into their shots. And a lot of times he stayed on the ground and didn't go for the pump fake. He stayed there with his arms up and it threw them off. And that's an old veteran. And look, man, that man's playing to get that 42 up in them rafters. He wins a championship. You might have to put Al Horford's number up there.
Wow.
Yeah, if you're going to put Robert Parrish, if you're going to put somebody, Cedric Maxwell,
Yeah.
you absolutely have to put Al Horford up there if he wins a championship with this team.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
I didn't know we were going there today.
Oh, you have to. He is the heart and soul of this Celtic team and has been since he was here the first time and they brought him back. He is when he wasn't there, they sucked. When he is there, conference finals are finals. It's no coincidence when that man is out on the court. He is the true leader of this team. And all those guys up in the rafters, it's not about numbers. A lot of them didn't have the numbers. It was, one, did you win a championship? And what was your impact on winning on that team? Al Horford has had a major impact on winning on this Celtics team. And he's out there playing like he wants a ring. And I think they're playing for Al Horford to get him a ring. And you saw it last night.
Just to give you a couple other numbers of people guarding Luka Doncic. Jalen, 4 for 6, 8 points, but he did force 2 turnovers, including the dunk that you heard there a little while ago. Holiday went 1 for 3, so he scored 2 points on Holiday. And Horford, as we mentioned. Porzingis, though, struggled, and maybe it's the familiarity for Doncic versus him or just knocking off the rust. But Luka went 5 for 7, scored 13 points on Porzingis last night. I don't want to bury Porzingis because he was a big impact in the game, but when they went one-on-one, Doncic, Porzingis, it wasn't a good matchup for him.
Yeah, if you notice, Porzingis he's shaped just like Gobert. It's the same situation. He can't move his feet. That he's like a giraffe. He can't once Luka gets to going left and right and Porzingis gets to spinning. By the time he pulls up for the jump shot, he's just like, oh man, just go ahead and shoot it. You got me out here dancing. Whereas Al Horford is better at moving his feet. He's a shorter guy. He's a better lateral player. He stays solid. He's a big body. Al Horford is a huge guy. So Luka's not going to give him that little chicken wing and kind of push off on it. He pushed Al Horford. Al Horford didn't move. Whereas a Porzingis, a thinner guy, Rudy Gobert, he get the push and get the dancing, and those guys are just off balance and he can get the shot. And you saw the difference. And I want to see that with Porzingis when he really gets his legs under him or when he's fresh. And I want to see what points in the game was he doing that. Was it early when Porzingis was fresher, or was it late when he was clearly didn't have his legs like he did earlier in the game?
All right, let's take a couple of calls here. We'll start off with Joe, who's in the car. What's up, Joe? You're on with Joe Murray in Cerrone Battle.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Jerome, take it easy with Al Horford up in the banners. I mean, I almost drove my car off the road. Take it easy. The guy's been playing well, no doubt about it. But come on, man. That's a little bit too much, man. But anyway, I was calling you guys. I've been saying all along that Jaylen Brown, I would take Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. And I've been hearing you guys on the radio all day today. And there are fans calling, praising Jaylen Brown, saying what I've been saying, that I would take Jason Tatum will not be the reason why we win banner 18, but he will be the reason why we lose if we don't get 18.
Joe, are you a Celtics hater, bro? I've been taking your calls all week, man. You bet. Your takes have
all
sucked.
Week. I haven't called you all week, Joe. What are you talking about?
Hasn't this guy called before?
What are you talking about? I haven't called you all week.
You haven't called me all week.
No, why'd you put the pipe down? And what are you smoking?
Listen, the pipe got nothing to do with this, bro. What are you smoking?
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
no, your stuff is better than mine. That's all I got to tell you. Listen, the Horford to the Raptors thing, Cerrone, we'll talk. We'll get into that one another day. All right?
No, it's whenever they want to get into it, I'm here for it. It's all about his career as a Celtic, not this week. That's not what I'm basing it on. It's his career as a Celtic.
And just to add to it, normally there's guys that get it. Like when people wanted to bring up Marcus Smart. I'll buy the Al Horford over Marcus Smart.
Thank you.
Okay?
People with the same people who will call me crazy right now were the same ones wanting a tribute video for Marcus Smart. Stop it. Stop.
Yes, what's
Al
up,
Horford, they're not even on the same level. Stop it. Al Horford's been an all-star multiple times over. That man's going to the Hall. He's good enough to get his name. He's good enough to get his name up in them banners. He wins a championship, he's in.
Oh, wow.
He's already in. He's got the all-stars, the all-NBAs, the defenses, national championships in college. He'll win in high school, college, and the NBA. Al's going to Springfield. He can get his name up in them banners.
You get an article out of this, guys.
Yeah, there are a lot worse players in the NBA Hall of Fame, or just the Basketball Hall of Fame, than Al Horford.
And his worst players in them banners.
And is that guy aware that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are teammates?
Yes.
That they play together, that you don't have to choose one or the other. That's kind of the brilliance of the Celtics. And look, Tatum was not great last night, but if you watched, I don't know, any of the game, you'd realize that the Mavericks were double and triple teaming him every time he went to the basket. He was making the right passes.
Yeah.
Tatum makes everyone's life easier. Was it a great Tatum game? No. Was it even really good? No. But he was fine. And that's all you need him to be. He was great defensively. He was very good at finding the right play, and he was huge on the rebounds all night. So, yeah, the weird agendas people have. Your team's in the NBA Finals up 1-0, and you're calling to complain.
Why are we comparing the guys, though? Like
they're teammates.
I just don't understand why we're comparing. They both did what they had to do to help win a game last night.
Could you imagine in, what was it, 86 when Kevin McHale was scoring 27 a game? If people would have called in and said, they need to get rid of Larry Bird because Kevin McHale is the best player on this team. It's like they play together. They feed off each other. If any, like you said, this photo, Joe, you put the pictures up. Tatum was being triple teamed and Jaylen Brown is standing in the corner by himself. It's like the Mavericks are telling you who the best player is. They're telling you who the most important one is. The guy that they're like, you know what? We'll let these other guys score 100 as long as he doesn't get 40. And that's what they were trapping him all night, and he was finding guys. He dribbled off his foot a couple times. He threw it away. Miscommunication. Yep, he did. The turnovers were high. But if he's not out there, Jaylen is not open. Jaylen is now getting double teamed. Derek White's not open. Porzingis was open every time because of Jason Tatum action. It works together. But yeah, I mean, come on, you're not in this. If he's not out there, you're not getting by Cleveland, let alone Dallas. So I mean, let's just be realistic, folks.
Game 1 of the 86. Just to go back, I looked at the box score. Robert Parrish was the leading scorer, and Larry Bird had 21, 8, and 13 assists. But Kevin McHale had 21 points, and I don't think Bird did enough that game, man.
No, he didn't do enough. When Cedric Maxwell was Finals MVP, they should have traded Bird away. You know, when DJ was Finals, I think he was Finals MVP one year. Yeah, they should have traded Bird away because those other guys are better.
Yeah,
like come on, man, it works hand in hand.
Do Steph's rings count when Iguodala and Durant won MVP?
Oh, right, when KD's getting 36 a night, should they got rid of Steph? Come on, man, they work hand in hand. Kobe playing second fiddle to Shaq. They should have traded Kobe away. I mean, it's getting ridiculous, man. They work together, and he will be the reason you win a championship because he's the one that makes it all go. And if he's off, they still won because he did everything else. He moved the ball, he played defense, got everybody else going, and I think he ended the game with the highest plus minus on either team.
Yep.
So there's that.
We got loaded phone lines, so we just got to hit a quick headline here, and then we'll get right to your calls, and we will get into Porzingis and looking at the deficit. Where does it rank in NBA history regarding the Celtics' 18-point win last night? We'll get into all that on the other side. Cerrone Battle's here. We got Skaz. I'm Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Celtics win Game 1, 107-89. Game 2 is on Sunday night right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Red Sox, well, they won a big one last night. Did it happen, though, if we didn't see it? Anyways, they're now taking on Chicago, and if I've heard this correctly, Chicago has lost a lot of games.
defense up to a level that even the best defense in the NBA over the last 2 months could not handle. For 10 days, it's been Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. But there's two ends to the floor, and the Celtics exploited all of the minutes that both Dallas superstars were on the floor. And the Boston Celtics, with their 77th win of the year, are now 3 wins shy of the ultimate goal. Game 1 of the NBA Finals is history, and it wasn't close. Boston 107, Dallas 89. The Celtics lead the NBA Finals 1-0.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. You got Cerrone Battle alongside. Skaz is here. We got a giveaway for you, too, coming up in just a few minutes, so sit tight for that. I just wanted to bring up a couple of notes regarding the margin of victory. Last night's Game 1. Here is the largest margins of victory over the last 30 years. In 2009, the Lakers won a game by 25 points. Back in 2017, the Warriors beat the Cavs by 22. And last night, Celtics beat Dallas by 18. It's the third largest over the last 30 years. Both the Lakers and the Warriors went on to win the series in 5 games. So let's see if the Celtics follow that trend. We got loaded phone lines, but one other thing I want to just bring up quickly, Cerrone, was what did you think of the fact they went with Holiday on Kyrie? I thought it would have been Derek White, but Drew was all over him. On 28 possessions, Kyrie had 4 points and shot 2 of 5 and had a turnover. I just thought that was a big part of Kyrie Irving's struggles last night, and Derek White also was able to get going offensively.
Size. Holiday's a strong dude. He's a big – you saw him posting up P.J. Washington like he was nothing. He's a strong guy. He's quick. He can move his feet, and he's very balanced and does so without fouling. You're never going to get him – you're never going to see him getting broken down to where he's touching the ground, or stumbling. He's always balanced. He's always solid. He's going to stay grounded, so Kyrie's not going to get him with the herky jerk similar to Al Horford. And it really bothered him. And thank God they made that move for Holiday and didn't bring in a Dame, because you'd have had a situation where you didn't have defense up top neither, and Kyrie would back and forth just being a scoring match between him and somebody like a Dame. But having Holiday, that's why you make a deal for a guy like this, because you're going to play against these elite all-star guards, and he put on a defensive clinic. And Derek White was kind of able to chill. He's kind of able to chill out on some of the other guys, even though he picked Luka off a couple times. But Holiday's size and, again, his awareness and anticipation skills put him on another level. I think him and Al they're the best on the team when it comes to that. And Derek White's right there with him, excuse me. But you put him on to Kyrie because he's going to understand the film, understand what he's about to do, and where he's going to go, and where he's going to anticipating where he's going to end up when he shoots it. Guys kind of overcommitting. Kyrie comes with the up and under or a spin, and they knew where he was going to release the ball, and he was in trouble all night. So you got to give Holiday credit for that.
I give Holiday credit because it got in his head too, and I think Missoula knew it, right? Take Kyrie out of it, let Luka go one-on-one with him, see if somebody else could step up, and nobody could. We'll get into more.
Easy.
It is. Hey, listen. We were talking about this a while. When you have a lot of talent on your team, it's easier to be a coach, right? And I'm not discrediting Missoula. It's just that he can use his analytics, right? He can use, things he's seen before. And so it's one game, but through one game, it was pretty impressive. We got loaded phone lines here. And I do want to get into the Kyrie stuff at the top of the hour. And as we mentioned, we got a giveaway for you. So let's start with John. He's in Northbridge. Hey, John.
Hey, what's going on? I got to talk about Porzingis for a little bit, but I got something else on my mind. I don't think the Celtics get to where they are without Porzingis, but I think you guys are giving him a little too much credit. I think he got hot at the right time last night.
I mean, how are we not supposed to give him credit for getting hot and coming off the bench?
He scores 20 points in 20 minutes.
He only came off the bench once in 459 games of his career. He has started 458 of them.
Jeez. I didn't even know that. But
so there you go. We're going to give him credit.
That's all good.
So now we'll give him credit, right? because he did something he's never done before and was a lead at it, I would like to give him credit for that.
No, I mean, and the reality is this is what he's done all season. This isn't the first time he scored 20 or the first time in his career we've seen him do this. The only issue or concern with Porzingis over his whole NBA career was health. It never was talent. The dude's a 20-point guy in this league. He's been an all-star before. This dude can, when he's healthy, I said this from the beginning, I think when he's 100% healthy, he's probably the second best player on the team because of what he does on both ends. And because he's 7, whatever, 2, 3, whatever he is so dominant. The fast break dunk attempts, he's out there getting back and blocking dunks at the rim on fast breaks and then coming back down and hitting a 3. I mean, it's incredible for a guy that size. That's
it was
unicorn stuff.
And all the rust too. It was it was very impressive. And sure, if you want to call it timely, they needed to get out to that run because of the run that Dallas went on. And in the end, they closed on a 14-2 run, and then Jason Kidd waved the white flag. Peter's in Plymouth. Hey, Peter.
Hey, guys. I got a quick statement that you guys can talk about afterwards, but I do have a personal question that, Joe, you're the only one who can help me on. So let me get the statement out real quick. The national media was all over Porzingis versus Lively, and I just want to shout out JB last night. Those hard offensive plays that he did that took Lively right out of the game was phenomenal to watch. I loved seeing that. Totally mixed out what the national coverage was doing about Lively, which was beautiful to see. But, Joe, real quick, former indie wrestler, there's a place that is near and dear to my heart that I have not been to probably in 15 years. How much time do I got to get back to the Kowloon before it's gone, man?
You got it. And guess what? D. Brown, remember him? Slam dunk champion?
Yep.
He'll be there on Sunday night. There's a big watch party, and I'll be there.
Nice.
But
I mean, I know
get there this summer, Peter. Get there this summer. That's what I would tell you. When you come back in town some night, Cerrone, I'll take you up there too.
Absolutely. Just let me know.
I took Leroy. Leroy and I saw Jake the Snake Roberts together. You should have seen Leroy. He was like, his eyes were like, it's Jake the Snake, man. Like, does he have the snake with him? He loved it. He absolutely loved it. Now let's talk to Eric in Boston. Hey, Eric.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey, so listen, I'm going to die on this hill that the Pacers are going to be the best series that we've played, just due to that pace. Now, the reason why I'm calling in again about this is after watching yesterday's game, I think if you're on the Mavs side, I felt like they kind of checked off what they wanted to do. They kind of kept Tatum at bay. They got him to 16 points. It wasn't like Jaylen Brown went off at 30. I know you had a good game, but if you're going back and you're on the Mavs side, it's just like, I feel like you did what you wanted. You kept him out the game. Now, does the Mavs have the personnel to speed up the game? Can they play at a faster pace? Is that something that Jason Kidd goes back at and look at like, hey, the Pacers gave him trouble by just flying up and down the court? What are their adjustments? What do you guys think?
What do you got, Cerrone?
Well, I don't think they think they were top, I don't know, like 8th or something like that in pace. And I think that might have been the fastest they played in the last few years. But they don't play with pace because their main, all these teams that have one ISO dominant, ball dominant guy, they don't play with pace because everybody's waiting on that guy. You know, Kyrie, as good as he is, you never really see a lot of open court, fast-paced up and down action from Kyrie Irving. He's very good in the half court. But Luka, the same as James Harden when he was in Houston, same as Westbrook when he was in OKC, ball dominant, ISO guys, spread everybody out, need to pick and roll. Because just like Harden, well, I think Luka's exactly the same player as Houston James Harden, statistically and defensively as well. Same skills, same weaknesses. He's not the most conditioned guy. He's not the most athletic like Harden, whereas he doesn't want to track meet. Like the caller mentioned, you go back to the Pacers, they're one of the fastest paced teams we've seen in the last 40 years. So they want to run because they're not a good half-court team. So with Halliburton and Nimbard and Siakam and Miles Turner, and Naismith, they want to track meet. They want to get up and down. The whole team is made that way. This team is made in the image of Luka. They want to get in the half court. They want to screen and roll. They want to pick and pop. That's what they want to do. And I don't think they want to play fast because they know playing fast against the Celtics, who, again, like Indiana, one of the highest paced teams of all time, they don't want to track meet with Boston because when they got in that situation, that's when the game got ugly. They made their run when they slowed it down. They don't want to track meet with the Celtics.
All right, right now, caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985 will score a 1-year Planet Fitness Black Card membership. The Black Card gets you access to all the perks like freedom to bring a friend every visit, hydro massage loungers, red light therapy booths, mediation pods, and more for only $24.99 a month. So sign up now, planetfitness.com. Caller number 10 right now gets that Planet Fitness Black Card membership. We'll have more with Cerrone Battle. I get some betting stuff and Kyrie Irving, and we'll talk to Tom Giles coming up in the next hour as well here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
between the Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. Headlines are brought to you by, for a limited time, you can enter to win the ultimate golf getaway courtesy of the Long Drink at participating liquor stores and restaurants near you. Just look for the bright blue can or visit thelongdrink.com. I'm Joe Murray. We got more with Cerrone Battle after this.
Tatum has been spectacular.
This is Jason Tatum.
Right corner against Embiid. Tatum for a 50-piece.
You're listening to the home of Boston Celtics basketball. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
And for those periods that he was at it, which was probably a period of about, I would say, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, yeah. Because once you had your attention, it's all you could see. And he didn't really want to, it wasn't like it was during a timeout. You see that stuff all the time where somebody yelled at somebody during a timeout and they yelled back. But not all the games in progress. And he didn't let it go. He went up and down the court with it. One time he got the ball, as I said, he couldn't find a shot and he got rid of it. And he turned right back around and started yelling at the guy again.
Well, that was Mike Gorman this morning on with Fred and Hardy and Wallach, saying that he was in the ninth row and Kyrie was going at it with a guy in the fourth row during the game. One of them was an inbounds pass that he missed. I'm back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Joe Murray, Cerrone Battles here. We got Skaz as well. We're going to talk to Tom Giles in about 15 minutes or so from NBC Sports Boston, who's working pre and post with Eddie House. So we'll get his thoughts on the series as well. But, Kyrie, people want to say he's a changed man. I didn't bite the cheese. I almost did, Cerrone. I didn't bite the cheese, though. His head was involved with the fans last night, and he had Drew Holiday in his head as well. And, well, he's same old Kyrie.
Yeah, I mean, is he changed, or he's just not in front of the Boston and New York media anymore? He's hanging out in Dallas where no one really cares about what you do on or off the court or even ask you any questions. But the minute, he gets back around, oh, no, the fans ain't bothering me. And then you're hearing stories like that from Gorman that he turned the ball over one time because he was going at it with a fan so much. And like you said last night, Skaz, the fact that that's the first thing he brought up in his press conference tells you the fans are getting to him. And he can say all he wants. He should never even mention the fans. Just talked about the game, what he has to do better, what they did, whatever they didn't do. But he brought it back to the fans again. And it's just that they're going to get worse. They're going to stay on this dude. And, yeah, again, I don't think he's changed that much. I just think the circumstances around him have changed to where the mic isn't in his face anymore. He's not in New York. He's not in Boston. And he's able to kind of just chill out there in Dallas and let Luka take all the bullets. And, but now that he's in front of everybody again, we'll see how changed he is by the end of this series. We'll see. He's going to say something. Something's going to happen before it's said and done.
They need him. Dallas needs him. And I've always thought shame on them if they have to rely on him, but he's been good. So I think this is his fourth NBA final. He's been there a couple of times. I'm curious how things work out for him the rest of the series, because clearly he's one of the best ball handlers, shooters. He's been a big performer, but maybe he needs to be in Dallas in order to perform. I'm kind of convinced that maybe he's going to be tuned out in Game 2.
I got a feeling that's coming too, Joe, and he's had a history of tuning out, of just not showing up. I think he had a stretch when he was in Cleveland. Him and LeBron were kind of going through their mess, and he went like a week with no assists or something crazy like that. And they had the issues. Next thing you know, he was gone on his way to Boston. LeBron ends up leaving, whatever, and LeBron leaves later. But he's had good moments. That big moment against Golden State in the finals, where everyone talks about how clutch a performance it was. It's a similar situation we were talking about with Jason Tatum. It's easy to do that when the whole room is watching LeBron James, when all the pressure is on him, and you get to go ISO 101 with Steph Curry. That's an easy matchup for him. But since that moment, where's there been this Kyrie magic, this magnificent one-on-one, one of the most skilled players in the history of basketball? If you're one of the most skilled players in the history of basketball, you're nobody's Robin. I don't care who, you're nobody's Robin. But he's not that guy. He's fun to watch. But at the end of the night, it's like, oh, he's got 20 points. That's pretty much what he's been. He comes to Boston where he's the man, and now everybody's watching him. My foot hurts. I don't know. He gets to Brooklyn, KD's out. It's on you. Yeah, I don't, I might not feel like it. The earth is flat. It's just something crazy comes up. So now he's back with Luka out in the Midwest. No one's paying attention to him. He gets to hoop a little bit, but now back on the national stage when everybody's watching, everybody's going to need him. I think he's going to, I agree with you, Joe. He's going to find a way to check out and be, not engaged like he should be. And this is who he's been for a decade now. So, I don't expect him to change. I don't think he changed at all. Just no one's asking the right questions anymore.
All right, let's talk to Tom. He is in Hawaii. Aloha, Tom. How are you?
Hey, what's up, boys? Listen, the Al Horford we've had in the last 3 seasons, where was that his first contract with us? He was getting $30 million a year and averaging, 6 points and a couple rebounds. And then he goes into the hiatus of, not working out in Philly, and then OKC basically told him to kick rocks. And now he comes back to the Celtics, and he's been so good for us the last 3 years. We got to win this for him. And he's been a huge contributor. And, why didn't he develop his three-point shot 8 years ago? Because then we would have never let him go.
It's because he was played for Atlanta, right? And
he was an old school player. When his first go round, no big men was shooting threes. They'd get benched. It's a different sport now. It's a completely different sport. And his first go round, he was an all-star here. And it was the only reason he ended up in Philly. I kid you not. Philly signed him. So Al Horford, so Embiid didn't have to deal with him in the playoffs. He put clamps on Embiid so bad. He was shooting 35% in the playoff series. They pay Al Horford $100 million just so they don't have to deal with him in the playoffs. And then when it didn't work, they let him go. But he was an all-star his first go-round. But, yeah, he wasn't shooting threes like he is now because the game was just played in a completely different way, and centers weren't out taking 6-7 threes a game like they are today.
Dude, I credit everything Al Horford has done in his career to stay in this league and be a big. The way he kept his body in shape, I can't give him enough credit. Even Grant, people crap on Grant Williams, the fact that he's developed a shot in the league to stay in the league and get a contract, cheers to those guys, because how many of them have fallen out of the league?
Yeah, he worked his, like you said, it give big props to you for bringing up Grant Williams, man. Grant, much as we want to get on him and we laugh because he's not in Dallas or in Boston no more, whatever, that dude, his work in the offseason, developing his jump shot, earned him generational wealth that is beyond anything his family would have ever seen. And this is coming from somebody, I think his mother works for NASA or something like that. The dude, he developed his game. He's found a spot in the league.
PJ Tucker is another guy that's done that.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good one. Yeah. There's a lot of guys who found something that's going to keep them around and found a way to be good guys in the locker room to where teams want to keep them around. So, credit to him, credit to Al Horford for being that kind of leader and the guy that shows the kind of hard work and effort and to extend his career like this. Think about it. He played in college with Noah.
Yep.
Noah was the last time he's been in the league.
He was on part of that Swamp Things, the Tebow, Hernandez, that whole thing. He was on him, Corey Brewer, right? Jakeem Noah, that whole group. That campus was wild. Watch Swamp Kings if you haven't had a chance to see it.
That was a long time ago, and this dude's still playing. Yep. None of those guys in the NFL or the NBA anymore. But here's Al Horford out here starting in the finals still.
Him and Zaza Pachulia versus Perk and Garnett in 08.
Exactly.
Still
That's a
here.
long time ago. Good for Al Horford, man.
LaCar in Boston. Hey, LaCar.
Hey, what's happening? I have at least 3 topics. I'll get to them quick. Well, first of all, I hope Missoula is out there listening to this conversation because I say Porzingis should continue to come off the bench because not so much what he did yesterday, but it strengthens the bench, though, and it gives him time to see what's going on in the game before he comes in. And, Cerrone, you're talking about Al Horford, number going up to the Raptors. What about Ray Allen, Danny Ainge, and Rajon Rondo?
I didn't say they don't belong up there. I just know Al belongs up there.
Al's going to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Right? And what I mean by that, what did he go to? 2 national championships? I'm not sure if he won 1 or 2. I can't remember now.
2 back-to-back.
So, he's gonna go.
Yeah, he's going to the Hall. But Ray Allen, as good as he was, as dominant as he was, what did he get, 4 years?
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 or 4 years he was here. Remember the whole he left to Miami.
Yep.
So I mean, Ray probably deserves it, but champion, one of the key guys on that team for sure. But I don't think he was here long enough. I mean, I could be crazy. He might have been here longer than that, but it seemed pretty short compared to Al Horford and some of these other guys.
Yeah, Rondo, I probably wouldn't put up, but I think he's a Hall of Fame talent that kind of was a letdown that won't go. But you never know in this. The basketball Hall of Fame's weird, man.
Yeah, but Al Horford with his college championships, absolutely. Because remember, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame; it's the basketball Hall of Fame. I think if he wins a championship, he's probably going to get in. And I think Holiday will probably be in the Hall as well, too, because this will be his second championship. All NBA, All-Star, All Defensive Player. I think Holiday's on the brink of being a Hall of Fame player as well because of his defensive and offensive skills early days and his championships. But I think Al, up in those banners, the amount of years he was here and the lot of winning they did when he was here, I got to put Al Horford up there.
Yeah, certainly when it comes to the credentials to get into the basketball Hall, he's certainly there. And just he mentioned Ainge. There has been talks about Ainge potentially going to the Hall. Who's the guy who built this thing? I know Brad's a big part of where they are now, but
give him his credit,
who
Joe.
made the trade of Garnett, Pierce to acquire the picks to get Brown and Tatum?
Yeah, I mean Danny Ainge built the foundation of this whole thing. They just didn't get over the hump with the guys he had, but those were Danny Ainge's pieces. Even Brad Stevens was a Danny Ainge hire. I think Mazzulla as an assistant was a Danny Ainge pickup. So, I mean, you got to give some of these guys, you got to give Danny Ainge credit for building. Literally, he rebuilt this team on the fly. They never tanked. They just let everybody else tank, and they kept on winning. They was in the playoffs from the beginning. And you got to give him credit for that. Give him credit for hiring Brad Stevens. Give him credit for moving Brad Stevens into his position when he left in the face of all the criticism for moving Brad up to that spot. So, yeah, you absolutely have to give Danny Ainge credit for building this team.
All right, we're going to bring in Tom Giles. You know Tom, right? The NBC Sports Boston does the pre- and post-game show. He hangs out with Scal and Eddie House. We're going to have him on coming up next, Cerrone. So we'll talk to Tom, get his thoughts on everything happening with the Celtics as well. Cerrone Battles here. We got Scaz. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Got Cerrone Battle alongside as well. Skaz is here. A lot of us are pulling late nights. We were here last night till 1 a.m. I know our next guest also pulling up some late nights on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. Welcome in Tom Giles of NBC Sports Boston. Tom, late night for you with pre and post, hanging out with Eddie House and Scal last night?
Oh, for sure. But as always, it doesn't feel as bad because they won the game. You know, it's those nights when you're sitting around waiting for guys to talk after losing games. Those are the nights that feel long. So late night, but this is the time of year, man. You got to love it. You guys got to love it, right?
Oh, yeah. Listen, Cerrone, we're going to be doing this on Sunday, too. We're nonstop. We're all locked in for this one. I do have to ask you about Eddie House, though, because I watched a little bit of it last night when I got home. But has Eddie locked this thing up? Does he think it's, as Cerrone likes to say, the Mavs of barbecue chicken and this thing's over after one game?
I guess you'd have to ask Eddie that because I'm not going to speak for him. But I think you feel pretty good about the Celtics. We were doing pregame last night. I'm trying to ask about the Mavericks and the matchup. And everything. Eddie was done with it. I mean, I think that part of it, too, is that Eddie, and we've all heard, you know, whether it's local coverage, national coverage, especially some of the national coverage, and what they've and you know, obviously you got to hype the game up, you got to hype the Mavs up, and in doing so, you got to take the Celtics down, and that's what you got a lot of in those 9 days leading up to last night's game. So I think you had a little bit of that going on in there too.
Question, man, just about the obviously the X's and O's of it, but do you see the guys that are not really talking about that much? Do you see the Derek Joneses and the PJ Washingtons and Dante Exum and those guys being able to do anything to make a major impact in this series as secondary players, like you've seen even from, you know, some of the guys in the other series like Indiana and Cleveland?
They got to knock down shots to keep it close. Like I think that obviously everyone's talking about it, but the fact that Luka had 1 assist, which was a season low, including the regular season, was just one of the most massive stats that you can take away from last night's game. Now, there were some potential assists that he could have had in there, and, you know, that comes down to guys making shots, making plays. But I think part of it is the fact that the Celtics didn't double Luka. They said, whatever, get your 30 points. We're fine with you, you know, having to work it and work one-on-one against defenders, and we feel like we can defend you pretty good one-on-one. And then that's going to take away the open guy. So, and Luka even said as much in the postgame when he was asked about, hey, you only had 1 assist. He's like, yeah, I mean, it was just basically me going against one guy. They didn't send the double. They went single coverage, and I think that had a huge, huge impact on the Mavericks, and I'd be curious to see what Jason Kidd does to counter that. But, you know, whatever looks the secondary players, the supporting cast gets for Dallas, they've got to knock them all down in order to stay in the game.
Tom, you know, who do you think was the best player on the court for the Celtics last night? And where I'm going with this one is potential NBA Finals MVP. Jaylen Brown had a big number around 650. It's now down to 300. Do you think he was the best player on the court last night?
I do. And if all things being equal for starting out from scratch, I would say that, you know, even if you're tallying it last night, Jaylen Brown, I think, would be the MVP. Porzingis had a huge night. I think his number was like, Joe, you probably know, but it was probably like 35-1 coming into the series, and it's down to 7-1. So he obviously made a huge jump. Tatum, though, is still the favorite because, you know, I think they're still looking at it that Jason Tatum, even though he didn't have a great scoring night, great shooting night, still impacted the games in other ways and still found a way to put up decent numbers, and probably you can expect him to put up even better numbers going forward. But I thought last night it was Jaylen Brown, and it was defensively, a couple key blocks, especially in that third quarter when the Celtics were really trying to turn things back around, and then a couple breakaway dunks in the first half coming off steals and getting active defensively, and just the job he did defensively. So that was Jaylen Brown, I thought, had a monster game last night.
With all the hype of the Mavericks big men coming into the series, I don't know who they were watching, but with all the hype coming into this series about the Mavericks big men, a lot of people nationally saying they have better bigs than Boston. which is crazy. But do you think Jason Kidd gave up on them guys too quickly? I think they both only played like 14 or 15 minutes, which is he just went small and said, forget it. And one of them was in foul trouble. I get it. But Gafford, I think, only played like 14 minutes of that game. Do you think early on that I'm going to say Jason Kidd was out of options, but he just kind of was like, I have no answer for these guys. Do you see anything coming from the Mavericks bigs that can turn things in their favor going forward?
I mean, the Celtics defended the pick and roll in a way that Dallas wasn't able to run to the rim. You know, those guys are terrific rim runners, and we saw it over and over again. The last couple of series, it was just lob after lob, and the Celtics just defended it so well that wasn't there for their big. So I don't really know offensively how much impact they can have other than that. So if the Celtics have taken that away, it's kind of tough. The other thing with Lively is, I mean, he had no fouls going into the third quarter and picks up 5 fouls in like 6.5 minutes. So, you know, part of that, I think, and Jason Kidd obviously left him on the floor for that run there, but they were kind of at a point where they had to roll the dice. I don't know what they can do to get him going. I found it kind of interesting that Kleba got as much time as he did. And there was one time where he's like wide open on the wing for three. I'm like, why are you on the floor if you're not going to shoot that? Like, what are you doing out here if you're not taking that wide open look and you're just going to pull it back out? But I don't know what their answer is for their bigs because clearly they don't have the rim run game that they had in the previous series.
All right, talking with Tom Giles, NBC Sports Boston. You can check him out on the pregame show before Celtics games as well. And I just got to ask you about the vibe there. Man, it was wild. And, you know, bringing up Kyrie Irving, you know, sounds like he might have been getting into it with the crowd a little bit. But we were just talking about Drew Holiday. Missoula put him on Kyrie last night. Kyrie struggled, had the turnovers, really only scored 2 points. But you know, what was the vibe like at the building last night? And just, do you think the crowd, do you think Kyrie is going to finally get over the crowd and actually play some basketball?
So I did find it interesting, you know, hearing from Mike Gorman because, you know, sitting up top wasn't able to see as well as, you know, what Mike had there with how Kyrie was getting into it with fans. I think that probably has some impact on Kyrie, but also just the way the Celtics can match up defensively, Kyrie can't have as much of an impact as he did in previous. Like the Celtics guards are just bigger than what he's used to. So it's especially if they're not going to double Luka, it's going to be really tough for Kyrie in this series. He's just going to have one of those exceptional games, which he's definitely capable of. But you know, between maybe the crowd getting into him a little bit, but also just the Celtics defensively. What they're able to do with their size and their speed and their quickness, it's just it's definitely tough for Kyrie. It's not what you saw really in the last couple of rounds for the Mavs.
Yeah, excuse me. And just again with Jason Kidd, I mean, he at times on the sideline looked like he didn't have any answers for anything. And I know I don't want to come off like a pure homer here, but I'm kind of leaning toward what Eddie House is saying because it just seems like there's so many mismatches. There's so many advantages. It's just a bad matchup for the Dallas Mavericks. They haven't been able to stay close to the Celtics all season, but what actually will it take for the Mavericks not to win a game? What will it take for them to beat this team 4 times in the next week and a half?
Think about this. The Celtics can go 3-3 over the next 6 games, which this team just, I don't know if they've gone 3-3 the entire season, but they just have to go 3-3 to win this series. And for Dallas, I mean, you gotta, it's like they have to find a way to slow the game down because, and here's the thing. Obviously, we've seen it throughout the playoffs. You know, Luka's knee is bothering him, but you see it a lot more when they're down, and then when he's also tired, you can see that kind of impact it has on him. So, you know, the less possessions, the better chances the underdog has. And I think Dallas has to find a way to slow the game down, try to get some isolation offense going with Luka, and then do their best to really limit the Celtics from running. I mean, there were times in the second half last night where, you know, you look over, Celtics come up with a defensive rebound, and Sam Cassell's on the sideline just waving his arm like, go, go, go. Like, it might have even been like
They might have been up by like 15, 17 at the time, and he's telling them to keep pushing the ball, keep the pace moving. The Celtics obviously want to get up and down the floor because I don't think Dallas can keep up with them. Luka, I don't think can keep up with them. So on the flip side, if you're the Mavericks, I'm curious what you guys think about it. They got to try to slow the pace down and then hope that they can get to the free throw line and really kind of just conserve things.
I'd go Hardy. I'd probably play him a little bit more, and maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. I know he's been on ice. They got to do something to get offense. The number is this: when the Celtics hold a team under 100 points, they're 24-0 this season, including the playoffs. So it's just they need points. But I do want to bring up something that Cerrone said on the show tonight that kind of sparked some callers. So I'm kind of interested. And do you want to tell him, Cerrone, about the Al Horford?
Oh, no, I have no problem, man. I feel if they win the championship, that Al Horford, I think over his career as a Celtic and his career in the NBA, deserves to get his number put up in the rafters.
Okay. I might have caught this. Might have caught a couple of the callers calling it as well. My eyebrows did go up when I heard it. I thought, I hadn't thought about that yet. I think that there's a better chance Al's a Hall of Famer, and maybe. Here's the other thing too. I don't think Al's done after this year. So,
wow.
I think he's going to keep playing, and who knows what else he adds to his resume. But he's been really good this year. Like it's just, and Porzingis coming back, allowing Al to play 30 minutes rather than 40 minutes, which we saw at times in that Indiana series, is just. I think that's massive for Al Horford because he's obviously much more effective when he's rested. And obviously with this series having 2 days off between games, except for games 3 and 4, that's already going to help Al. But if he's playing less minutes, I think that's huge. So I guess we'll see. We'll see as far as everything else goes. I mean, I'm pretty sure as it is, I don't think anyone else is wearing 42. So that's something, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's the last guy wearing 42. I think he's grandfathered into that.
That's right. And listen, some of the fatal flaws this year were Porzingis and Horford. They're too old. They got to get hurt. They got no bigs. And then the other fatal flaw was Joe Mazzulla's offense, right? And the threes. Yeah, both of them are going to get them. Right now they're up 1-0 in the series, but could be getting them to an NBA championship. I got one more, Tom, before we let you go. Of course, my colleague on the weekly spread, I want you to set a line, okay? The 08 Celtics versus the 2024 Celtics. Who'd be favorited and who wins?
Oh, Joe, you're going to put me on the spot. See, now I got to go back. You're asking about Eddie House. I go back to Eddie House and Scal and come over the line here. It would be short. It'd be a short number. Two totally different styles, two teams that played in two totally different eras where, I mean, Eddie talks about it all the time, man. If he had played in this era and was able to get as many threes up as these guys do, it'd be incredible to see what his numbers would be. Have you priced this yet? Have you put a number on this yet?
I got the 2024s. Cerrone, what do you got? What do you have?
Man, it depends on the rules. Are we playing 08? Are we playing today? I think the 08 team with the veteran leadership would be favored. I think they're just an older veteran team, one of the smartest teams I think we've seen in the last 20 years. I think that would give them the edge. But if they're playing with today's rules, man, I don't know if you could throw P.J. Brown out there to run with Porzingis in the fourth quarter.
That's fair. I probably would. I mean, and here's the thing, too. We saw the 08 team win a championship. We saw them beat Kobe's Lakers. And Celtics are up 1-0 in this series, but we still, got to see it a little bit. So if you're pricing it today, I think you still probably have to give the nod to the 08 Celtics at this point. I tell you what, though, the over-under would definitely come down. I don't think it would be 215, 217, which we're seeing in this series.
Oh, yeah. I would say I'm going to go 2024 Celtics minus 120, and the total being around about 204.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
let me tell you, that's a high number for that 08 team in the way that they played back then.
And that's why I think the 2024 team would win. There's just they think about it. It's impressive what they did, scoring all those 2-point baskets and having really House and Ray Allen and probably Scal as their best three shooters, right?
Yeah, I mean, Posey knocked down some big ones. Obviously, Pierce was a good shooter. So, yeah, they had some guys that could light it up.
I think Rondo would be the deciding factor. I think the smarts of Rondo and his defense would pick apart any flaw of this Celtics team right now.
Well, there you go, Tom. You got more content now. Maybe they can use your voice as one of those. You guys You guys always do those. What do you guys call them when you get the math involved in the? You do the. This team versus that team, and you're the voice guy all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it's just like, hey, this guy's in the building. Let's grab him. He'll do it. He won't say no. Yeah, man, the simulation stations and then battling the teams. Yeah, that was I forgot what it was called. It was settle the argument is what it was, matching up the best Celtic teams of all time. We could throw that one in the mix.
There you go.
Right now, you got to go with the team that won it, and that's that 08 team.
All right, man. What kind of coverage you guys got going into Game 2?
Well, tonight doing BST. So. You got the dual screens going, or you got the radio and the TV going. We'll have you at 10 o'clock, and then a re-air. So you guys will be done. You can get the re-air from us tonight as well. And then, of course, we'll be down at the Garden on Sunday night. So we'll be there, starting with some coverage at 6 p.m.
All right, he's Tom Giles. Check him out, NBC Sports Boston. Tom, appreciate your time, man. We'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Great to talk to you guys.
You got it. He's Tom Giles, everybody. Tom Giles. NBC Sports Boston, a good-looking man. Great at gambling as well. And I had to throw that out there, Cerrone. The 08 versus 2024. We could still work on that one, right? It's just with
we will.
It's
they
only
have to win it though.
It's only one win. That's what I mean. It's only one win. We got to get Skaz. You got one before we let you go.
My only thoughts on 08 versus 2024 is. Boy, would Kendrick Perkins have some trouble in that series.
The high pick and rear, he'd be spinning.
He wouldn't be talking.
He'd be looking like Rudy Gobert.
Missoula will be putting a burn in his brain. All right, we got to go to
Tatum versus Paul Pierce would be epic.
Epic.
That's good stuff.
Jaylen Brown and Ray Allen potentially.
Yeah, Derek White and Holiday chasing Rondo. I'm here for it.
In on that. Speaking of that, in or out, we're going to do that with Cerrone before we let him go tonight. We take a quick break, get a look at the headline. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, we got Game 2 on Sunday night between the Celtics and Mavericks. Green took care of Game 1 up 107-89. Red Sox in Chicago tonight. They trail 1-0. Chicago has lost 14 in a row. That's not
three.
They're swinging that basketball around. You double team, and they're making you pay.
51-29. Boston by 22. Jalen, clean strip of Luka, flies in for the right-hand slam, and the Celtics lead game one by 24.
Well, we talked about who he could guard. JB steps up again.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. Got one more segment, then we're going to do In or Out with Cerrone Battle. That should be fun. Got some good ones in there for you tonight, Cerrone. Quickly, I wanted to ask this question and something that's been developing. I've been air frying. Jaylen Brown clearly is elevating to superstar level. And I think a lot of it has to do with Jason Tatum doing less. And then just the team around him. But I think the story of this Celtics team is they do have two superstars, and Jaylen Brown is finally playing to all the expectations. But I wanted to ask you, do you think Jamal Murray, who was in the same draft as him, somebody I wanted the Celtics to draft personally from his success in Kentucky, et cetera, do you think him playing well last year, winning a championship with Jokic, you think any of that motivated Brown this year, or was it him getting the contract, losing last year, what happened in Game 7? There's a lot of factors in there, but the story is Jaylen Brown is becoming a superstar, and Jason Tatum's slightly doing a little bit less for all this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it played into it. Yeah, seeing a guy that you was drafted, a guy from your draft class, a key player from that draft class, winning it before you, knowing you could have been the first one to win it. I think he thinks about that. Also, the comfort of knowing the contract and stuff is behind you is not motivation, but it leads to focus. I think you have to factor in them losing last year, and as poorly as he played in the Miami and Philly series, and the heat he took. I know I said some things, and other people have, and people questioned him. I think all that, he listens. He knows he's a very smart man. I think all of that played into it, and I think once they brought in Holiday and Porzingis, I think they all realized, like, okay, we have a legit chance of something big here. And I think they all just kind of locked in. His numbers were down from last year, but the efficiency was up. The defense was up. Same with Tatum. Numbers are down, but everything else is up, including the winning. So I think he's always been a superstar talent. But I think everybody's getting a chance to watch him and watch what kind of player he is. But he's performing better in these situations than he did last year. And I do think all those factors played into it.
Just to build to the resume, he was a part of the slam dunk contest, right?
Oh, yeah, forget about that.
You know, the left hand. Tatum even said, hey, can you give my minutes to Brown? I want him to get MVP. The reason why I was upset with the national media was not because of what they were saying, but because of the lack of research they did, the lack of just knowing the relationship of these two guys. I mean, last night, Skaz sends me this photo of Tatum's dad with Jaylen Brown, and Brown took the photo. You know, these guys have a relationship. They might not be best friends, but you know what? They have a relationship, and even going back to 2021, Chris Mannix wrote all about this, but ownership went to Tatum and said, hey, we have an opportunity here to move on from Brown. What do you want to do? And Tatum was adamant about keeping Brown because it's going to help him. And they've both changed their games, and here they are. But the story of the Celtics, no matter what anybody wants to say, the path was easy. Oh, they're going to get the injuries, all this. No, the story is that Jaylen Brown has ascended to a superstar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's ascended to people been debating for years who's better, whatever. Look, when we all said if he's better than Jason Tatum, they're the best team in the NBA. If he's on the same level as Jason Tatum, they're the best team. They're the best tandem in the NBA. It's not Luka and Kyrie because they don't play defense. This is the best all-around two-way tandem, healthy tandem. These guys are healthy. They play most of their games. They play defense. They both can get 40 on any given night. They're great guys off the court. This is the perfect tandem, and they complement each other. And here's one thing. If they win this, they're going to be close to impossible to beat with that thing off their back of not getting over the hump. Once the mental matches their physical, they're only 26-27. When they hit 30, it's going to be a wrap for everybody in the NBA. And that's why there's a lot of hate out there, because people can see this turning into something really special. And I'm glad they stayed together, and I'm glad they both kind of did their thing. And you heard Lou Williams say on the podcast last week, they do hang together. They do go on trips together. They do things together. They just don't post it on social media like everybody else. It's the kind of people they are, very laid back. They're like Tim Duncan and David Robinson, very low-key guys, but they're very dominant in what they do between those lines. And the Celtics really have something special with both of them.
And I think that Brown has turned into the alpha. And I've always said the Celtics have never needed Jason Tatum to be that guy, and I think we're starting to see that now. So I'll be on with Cerrone and I will be on together this Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m. We're going to do some extensive coverage. So we'll be on this Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. We'll do a preview of Game 2 and, of course, get into a little bit of the storylines that come out over the next couple of days or so. But before we say goodbye to you, Cerrone, let's do a little in or out. We'll do that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it going to be, McFly? Are you in or out?
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best success.
Are you in or out?
Ooh. I would say yes. I'm in. I would say yes, but the only thing is LeBron's just been old when he's been with AD. But I'm gonna say I'm in. I think D Wade took a step back when he was with LeBron. Statistically, Kyrie was good for a couple years, but when you add in the defense and the offense, I think AD was the best player in the bubble for the Lakers that year. I think he actually won. He led them in every category, I think, except for assists. I think AD was the best player on the court for that bubble team. That really didn't count. But, yeah, I'm going to say he is. I think he has been his best teammate. That's a good one.
I think it's Wade, Irving, or Davis. Mm-hmm. So is a big, looking at a big, if you look at it, Davis averaged 27 points a game. Kyrie was 22. Wade was 22. So if you're just looking at it as a big who scored, might be right. Just a couple. Kevin Love, nah. Chris Bosh, no. Ray Allen didn't play. J.R. Smith.
And you probably got to go back to probably Big Z, Ilgauskas, when he first came in the league. Big Z was an all-star, I think, his first 2 years when he was in the league, but he wasn't getting 27 a night like the way AD is now.
And Shaq, I think, played with him. I think about that team, LeBron's first team. I'm trying to think, who was the second best scorer on that team? Was it Larry Hughes?
Mo Williams? Was Mo Williams on that team?
Booby Gibson.
Mo Williams was there. It might have been Ricky Davis.
Antoine? I'm trying to think now.
Antoine might have been there a little later, I think. They traded
Antoine Jamison came when they were good. I think Ricky Davis was there his first year. And Dewan Wagner, who was supposed to be the future for that team, and it didn't really pan out.
Wow, it's funny how they made it to the final all the way with that group. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, Larry Hughes was on that team.
Yes, good players.
Scott Pollard, Eric Snow.
Wow.
Wow. Actually, the leading scorer was Drew Gooden.
Really?
Wow. I just looked it up. 06. Drew Gooden. Wild.
Yeah. But I would say I'm in on AD being his best teammate.
Yeah, I
think I'm in on it, but it feels like Wade was better. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
the winning.
Yeah, it's probably what it is.
Yeah.
All right. This is one, Joe, you tossed in Slack earlier today that I was unaware of, but apparently Wes Welker was asked to do the Tom Brady roast, but once he found out that he would be one of the people also getting roasted, he declined because he did not want to get roasted. Are you in or out on Welker declining the roast?
Out. Welker should have been there no matter what. You drop the ball in a Super Bowl. You don't like Bill Belichick. They let you go, right? Like, come on, dude. Self-deprecate. It might as well helped your Hall of Fame candidacy. By the way, Cerrone, I'm a huge Wes Welker in the Hall of Fame guy. Way over Edelman. And by the way, Wes Welker did more as a Patriot than Edelman did in his career. Now, granted, we're not talking playoffs. But anyways, Wes Welker should have been there. Out.
Yeah, I'm out on that. Come on, dog. Come on. They're going to say something. They're going to say something bad about you if you're there or not. They've already said it. We just didn't hear it. So going up there, have fun, be with your guy. I mean, I'm kind of with you, Joe. The amount of catches that this dude got over his career is insane. And I think anything would help his status right now. I think popularity is the only thing keeping him out. But I agree with you, man. You got to show up. I'm out on him ditching that. I mean, come on, Wes. You better than that, man.
Yeah, I'm out on that. Out on that as well. All right, this one might be more in my wheelhouse than you guys, but SpongeBob. We are getting 2 SpongeBob SquarePants spin-off movies, one featuring Plankton and the other featuring Sandy Cheeks.
I'm in.
Gentlemen, are you in or out on SpongeBob spin-off movies?
You're a SpongeBob guy, Cerrone?
In. SpongeBob is one of the funniest shows of all time. I don't care.
A hard
TV
agree there.
or animation.
A hard agree, yes.
I've only seen it when under the influence, so I mean I've liked it. But you know what? It's about time because they make spinoffs of almost every cartoon gets a spinoff.
Yeah.
So you know, SpongeBob's had a pretty good run. Why not a spinoff? So I'm fine. I'm in, and plus I'm sure that a lot of these movie companies need to make more. With the holdout they had. So I like SpongeBob. I'm in.
All right, we'll head to the Oscars for this one, and that is that stuntmen. It is in talks that the stuntmen will finally get their own category at the Oscars. Are you in or out?
So, real quick, I know a stuntman, Tanao Reed. He's The Rock's stuntman. He looks just like The Rock. So he's the only stuntman I know. And so he's from Honolulu, Hawaii. That's how I know. But I don't know any other stuntman. So, like, yeah, I like that it's a category. I'm in on that. But, like, I don't know. Are we now going to know the most famous stuntmen in the world now? Like, I need more on this one.
Yeah, I'm in because I love that part of the Oscars. I love the technical part, the special effects, all that stuff. I think that's what makes movies. I could care less about the actors. They're just secondary right about now. But I think they missed their window because everything is so CGI now. I mean, you go back, Saving Private Ryan, every single person out there was a real person. Today, it's like 2 people and the rest are just animated. So, I mean, I think they kind of missed their window. But I think by giving them, if you're going to give credit to the people who made the pants, you got to give credit to the guy who jumped through the glass window on fire from 50 stories up. So I'm in on this, and maybe after a couple of years, we will know who the best stuntmen are in Hollywood.
Yeah, who's the guy who played in the stunt double for Nordberg in The Naked Gun? If you know the character who I'm talking about, when he goes down the stairs and they let him go, or I don't know, you know what I'm talking about. But who else? I'm trying to think of like some other that could have been like a funny stuntman.
Well, I'm sure Tom Cruise has had like a million.
Tom
Cruise might do all his own stunts. He's so crazy. But like, yeah, guys, Jackie Chan does a lot of his own stunts. But like,
he'd have 10 Oscars by now.
Yeah, exactly. Like the beating they take. Yeah, why not?
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Maybe those guys could be their own stuntman and get awards.
Yeah, it's a loophole
Cruise.
right there.
Yeah, I'm in on that.
They put this category in just to give Tom Cruise an Oscar.
It's the only way he can win them anymore.
Dead Reckoning 2, Tom Cruise is going to jump out of a volcano in his underwear and win an Oscar. But I mean, it's in play for Tom Cruise to finally get an Oscar.
All right. We'll end with this one tonight. This is something I saw on Twitter, and that is that Coldplay is planning on releasing new music soon. Are we in or out on more Coldplay? I think I'm out.
Listen, I think that people are hard on them. There's a common theme that some people may have seen
like
from
Nickelback
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, yeah.
They're a fine band. It's just, do I need new music from them? No. I'm out.
Yeah, I think I'm out. I think their time is up. The window is closing.
But you never know. Like Creed's coming back. All these bands are coming back. You might as well get paid, too.
Yeah, I mean, go in and do it. Somebody's going to buy it. I mean, people are going to go, stream it, whatever. Yeah, but I'm out. I'm out on Coldplay. I'm sorry.
I got one. I got one for you guys. In or out on Jimmy Butler Bad Boys?
Out.
Did you see
that alone made me not want to see the movie. I saw the commercial the 15 times they showed it last night. I'm like, I don't want to see this. I'm done with this. I mean, come on. Stop. I'm out on Jimmy Butler altogether. I'm out. I don't even want to go there. I'm out.
Yeah, Joe and me we were in here last night, so we didn't have the volume on. We had the radio broadcast, but we kept seeing the commercial, and I was like, we got to get Cerrone's thoughts on this. Like, what is this commercial?
Well, I love the Reggie movie. I love the Reggie part when he comes up to pick up his daughter. You know,
yeah, I mean, but
they scare the crap out of him. You look like Ludacris.
Jimmy Butler. I mean, come on, man. No. I mean, because the first Bad Boys, I think the first two. It was John Sally. John Sally had a recurring role as a basketball player. He was playing for Miami, I think, at the time. He ends up in the movie, but he was a cop, and he kind of helped him out. He was the tech guy.
Yeah.
So I think they're playing on the same thing. They're just using the modern Heat player, and it's corny Jimmy Butler. I mean, stop. I'm done with him.
One more. In or out on Dan Hurley to the Lakers, 8 years, $100 million.
Wait, that's what they offered him?
The Lakers are prepared to offer Dan Hurley a deal, 8 years, $100 million.
Jesus Christ! I guess if I'm him, he bet. If I'm his wife, you better be in.
New Jersey to L.A. I'm in.
Yeah, we're out. I mean, I think it's career suicide, but $100 million will make you forget about that real quick. Man, that's a lot of scratch. I'm in.
Just
might as well be in.
Talking about it for a second, though. Like, UConn is the best place in the country to be for him. He went from Rhode Island to UConn and won a national back-to-back. national championships. Is the NIL that bad? Is that why these coaches are moving?
Nah, he's winning. I think, what is they paying him? $35 million?
Yeah.
I mean, he's on a college campus. He's chilling. He's going to get new recruits every year. UConn's always going to be in the mix. He can go to L.A. and they can be bad for 2 months and they can fire him before Christmas. He's going to get the money, but I don't know if you want to tarnish your resume. You could sign and then LeBron could leave and there'll be a lottery team for years. I don't think it's worth the risk, man. I take the $30 million. $100 million is hard to turn down, but I take the $30 million and chill in UConn like Calhoun until I'm old and gray, man. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, Gino Auriemma just got another long deal.
Yeah, he ain't leaving.
He ain't stupid enough to leave. That guy knows. Yeah. He knows where his bread is buttered. Someone just tweeted at me, Pharrell was on the song Right Here by SWV when the guy who goes SWV.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was Pharrell. SWV.
He's a vampire, man. I'm telling you. He's been around for 100 years.
All right, Cerrone, nice job tonight, my man. Thanks for hanging out for In or Out. And we will talk. We'll be the pre-game show on Sunday from 1 to 4 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. You gone?
Oh, sorry.
All right, bro. Well,
I'm still here. Bye. I'll see you tomorrow, man. Right. I'm sorry. I thought I was on.
Are you back?
Take it easy.
Are you back tomorrow, too? Are you on tomorrow?
I mean, I'm one month tomorrow morning, but I'll be on with you on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. You and Leroy now, 9 to 11.
9 to 11. I'll be back on in the a.m.
I love that
busy
spot.
Weekend.
I love that 9 to 11. Oh, it's the... Man, I love that time slot. People are going to the dump and doing all sorts of things, man. It's a great time of day. So, Cerrone's back here tomorrow with Leroy Irvin, and then we'll be back here Sunday from 1 to 4. Thanks, Cerrone Battle. We'll take a quick break. Get your headline. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the road to Banner 18. This is the flagship station of the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics swarm the floor.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Leslie Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Celtics take game 1, 107-89 over Dallas. Game 2, Sunday night, right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Red Sox have a 2-1 lead right now over the White Sox. That game is in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bobby Dahlbeck scored on an error, and Jared Durant, not only did he have a leadoff home run last night, he stole home. I'm going to go back in my brain, but the last guy to steal home that I can remember for the Red Sox had to be Billy Hatcher.
Ellsbury did it.
Oh, Ellsbury did it too?
I was at the game. That's how I remember.
So I'm going to say Billy Hatcher, Ellsbury, Durant. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. Imagine sucking so bad someone steals home. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
It's not just the games. It's the preseason, the postseason, the drafts, the trades, front office drama, the locker room banter, and you talking all about
blah,
it.
Blah, 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 blah.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
For John Henry to speak, and then he did, and then now we don't want him to anymore. So that's happened. Skaz, one thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if you heard about this, but you and I first met at a Hooters, for the people who don't know the story. But the Hooters in Warwick, Rhode Island had to close because of the George Washington Bridge. People couldn't get over to get their Hooters and their wings, and they have had to close, and I just feel like that's unfortunate. Like, I feel like they should have found some other way, right? Maybe there's a Hooters bus. Like, did you ever see Dumb and Dumber? When, like, this whole group of girls in bikinis just, hey, guys, we're trying to find our way to, to Aspen. Can you show us where it is? And, they're like, yeah, whatever. And then they don't realize that, like, they could have just went on the bus with a bunch of beautiful women. Because they're idiots. But why didn't Hooters come up with a bus for this? Make it a thing. Stuck in traffic? Hang out with the Hooters girls. I feel like they really missed an opportunity on this one, Skaz.
What's a bigger whiff, that or Red Lobster going bankrupt from endless shrimp?
It's probably Red Lobster.
That's a tough one.
But Hooters missed out. At least they're not bankrupt. They're going strong. They're growing. They got multiple franchises. Man, Red Lobster. They need to bring one over. Listen, I know we're
done. They're gone.
Doesn't matter. Bring one here. Like here's the deal. I live on the North Shore. There's, fried clams galore and lobster rolls and everything.
You just want the biscuits.
The cheddar biscuits, baby. You know what? They should just call it cheddar biscuits.
They should just sell those. They make their money back. Sell them and put them in supermarkets.
You can get them on Goldbelly, which is like that. But yeah, imagine just like walking in, like, I want some cheddar biscuits tonight. Or maybe another franchise will pick it up, like Fridays or something like that. I've done this before on a show, but when it comes to appetizers or things, some places just have the best, right? Olive Garden breadsticks, Bertucci's rolls, right? Not Your Average Joe's has the greatest bread, but with that oil and cheese. Oh. But man, Hooters and Warwick, they might open it up for football season when the bridge opens back up. So we got your buddy Kyle coming up next here, Skez?
Yes, we will have Kyle Irving, who covers the NBA and the NBA draft for the Sporting News, joining us shortly. A buddy I went to high school with, which is pretty crazy.
Ham?
Bridgewater guy.
Bridgewater.
Yeah. Very divisive.
I know. Yeah, just, you gotta represent. Just like Mighty Ducks, you know what I mean? You gotta be in your right region. You gotta either play for the Ducks or the Hawks, and that's how it.
Adam Banks. Yeah.
quick. Smelly.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
All right, back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub of Joe Murray. We're here until 11 o'clock tonight. NBA. It's what everybody's talking about, the finals. Of course, Celtics up 1-0 in the series over Dallas. And let's get another perspective and go to the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline right now. Welcome in Kyle Irving. Does some work with the Sporting News. Big NBA draft guy as well. Kyle, what did you think of the Celtics in Game 1? What was the biggest thing that stood out to you in Game 1?
Joe and Skaz, thank you for having me on again. I think the first thing that stuck out to me, I hope Joe Mazzulla is getting the credit that he deserves on the airwaves today, because to me, I thought the Celtics were the more prepared team. They didn't look scared of the moment. I thought they had an incredible defensive game plan. I thought they executed it near perfectly, aside from that little hiccup at the start of the third quarter. But, the way that they threw different looks at Luka Doncic, the way that they attacked that pick and roll, they switched up the drop coverage, blitzed them a little bit. I thought that, everybody on that team knew what their assignment was. They were pre-switching, doing all these things to make sure that he didn't get other guys going, made sure that all of his shots were difficult. And the result was 30 points on 26 shots, which you'll live with. And this is a guy who has played 446 games in his NBA career. That is only the fourth time that he has finished a game healthy and had one or fewer assists. So I thought they did a good job of shutting off the other guys, made sure if Luka was going to get his, they weren't going to get beat by someone else. And from the get-go, everybody was locked in.
What type of growth have you seen from Joe Mazzulla? I think it helps him a bit having better players in Drew Holiday and, of course, Kristaps Porzingis. But what are some other things maybe you've seen? You said give Mazzulla the credit. What were some other things that you think he deserves credit for?
We could start with the timeout in the first quarter. I mean, that was a breath of fresh air for everybody, I think. But no, seriously, I mean, the team came out tight offensively. I thought that, Tatum was pressing a little bit. It looked like they were struggling to get into rhythm and find good shots. And he just took a quick timeout, got them to take a breather, and then they came back out. They were getting into their sets, moving the ball around a little bit more, the driving kicks. The whole Mazzulla ball thing, shooting threes, I know three-point variance can be extremely annoying. Every single time that a Celtics player drives the lane, kicks out, my dad has a heart attack on the couch. But, I really feel like last night was the prime example of how that can be a massive difference in this game, because the Celtics took 2 fewer shots than the Mavericks did. They had an average three-point shooting game. They shot 38.1% from three, and still they won that game by 18 points. And a lot of that is because they just flat out shot the three ball more often and a little bit better than the Mavericks did. And to me, that's something that, when you're looking at it, it's easy to point to those games when they're missing a ton of threes, and it's frustrating. I understand that. But the way that they were moving the ball on offense, making the extra pass, making sure they found the open guy, Tatum driving, kicking, taking in as much of the defense as he can before he makes that last-second decision. I thought he's gotten better with that, even though he was turning the ball over. To me, it really feels like that was one of the major differences. And between that and the defensive game plan, those are two things that Joe Mazzulla's hung his hat on, and he's stuck with that, and he's gotten this team to buy into it, and we saw that make a massive difference in Game 1.
So, Kyle, if you're the Mavericks and Jason Kidd, you're saying all these things that they didn't have their best three-point shooting night. They had less shot attempts than the Mavericks. What does Jason Kidd, or what can Jason Kidd do moving forward to try and limit the Celtics and get the Mavericks, back into the series?
I think what they need to do is, one, you're not going to take the ball out of Luka Doncic's hands. I think they have to find another way to get creative, because the Celtics defense is so good at pre-switching those screens. They had that game plan locked in from Game 1, with Jason Tatum guarding the big man and making life a little bit more difficult. So Porzingis or Horford, even though he defended Luka well, was not caught out on an island all that much. So, whether it's setting up these double drag screens that they saw a lot of success with against OKC, a lot of success with against Minnesota, to kind of, throw multiple bodies into the mix. Hopefully someone misses a coverage, misses an assignment, and then Luka can, kind of get downhill, and that's where he creates, and that's when he's at his best. But, they talk about the corner three-pointers and the lobs. And the Celtics did a great job of shutting those off last night. Now it's trying to figure out how can they get those looks for themselves, because, as we saw, Derek Jones Jr., P.J. Washington, those are two guys who have not been the most consistent three-point shooters throughout their NBA career. they got really, really comfortable getting spoon-fed open looks in the corners all playoffs from Luka. But above the break, those are guys that shoot under 30% from three above the break. So, they have to find a way to get those guys into their spots and make sure that Luka is trusting his teammates, because a lot of times last night, if the Celtics decide to just, stay aggressive, double team Luka Doncic, he wasn't trusting those guys at the top of the key. There was a lot of examples where those players were just left wide open on the three-point line. And instead of trying to kick out, be the playmaker that he usually is, he was forcing up a shot, or maybe it was a turnover. Derek White got him on the backside for a couple steals. So it's making sure that they're playing their brand of basketball. They're going to have to find a way to adjust their game plan to what the Celtics were doing, get those guys back to the corners, find another way to activate Derek Lively, who had the worst game of his young playoff career last night. He was completely shocked by the bright stage. And, I think that's one way. And the other way is just, Kyrie Irving's not going to go over from three all night long. He's not going to do it. So, there is going to be a moment where he starts to find a rhythm and get into a groove. And it's finding a way to get him a little bit more comfortable because, again, he talked about how he's been in the final stage before, but it's the first time in 7 years and first time without LeBron James as his teammate. So life didn't look as easy as it had in the past.
Yeah, just a follow-up on Kyrie Irving. When he was defended by Drew Holiday, he couldn't do much. And there was Mike Gorman, who was a longtime broadcaster here, said that he was chirping with people in the fourth row of the stands. Do you think Kyrie Irving has changed? I know there might be a little bias in you being from here, but do you think he's changed watching him all year long? Because, I don't know, one game in the finals, same old Kyrie.
I regretfully admit that I still kind of have a soft spot for Kyrie, just the player, Kyrie Irving, the basketball player. Just I'm fascinated by his game and the wizardry and just how talented he is. But I do think that, this is someone, kind of like I was just saying, this entire playoff run has been talking about, I'm the one that's been here before. I'm the one that needs to, kind of instill that confidence in my guys in the locker room. And to me, I honestly thought he looked shell-shocked in the first game of the NBA Finals. And that's why I say, he talks about, I've been here before. It's been 7 years. And that gets a lot tougher when you have LeBron. When LeBron James is your teammate, life is a lot easier. I know Luka is great. He's incredible, but he's not LeBron James. No, that is someone that, depending on who you ask, they might think he is their greatest player of all time. So to go back to the final stage, have those bright lights going in a place where you are really, really disliked. Like you said, he's probably going to be getting into it with the crowd here and there. That's going to throw him off his game a little bit. I think part of what's made Kyrie so good this playoff run is he's kind of like brought back that peace that he talks about. He restores the peace. Like he's just, he's the spiritual being. And when you disrupt that a little bit, the way that I think Boston fans really can and get under his skin, whether he admits it or not, it throws him off his game. And I think that was a prime example last night. Obviously, Drew Holiday did an incredible job defending him, but there were a lot of moments where he just missed open shots, open layups that we've seen him hit, honestly, with his eyes closed.
Yeah, so we mentioned Kyrie struggling last night. Another guy who, I think had a good all-around game, but obviously fans around here want more out of is Jason Tatum. They were, throwing double teams at him, triple teams at time whenever he was getting in the lane. Do you think Joe Mazzulla needs to find a way to get Tatum involved more offensively, or do you think that having Tatum be the guy that draws the coverages and kicks is enough for them to be able to win the title?
I think that Tatum is someone who the offense comes naturally to him when he needs it to come naturally to him. I thought last night, he was doing a good job of driving and kicking. Like I was saying, just taking in as much attention from the defense as possible and making the right read. Obviously, he had a couple bad passes, a couple lazy turnovers, but he's gotten really good at playmaking. I don't think he gets enough credit for the development that he's made as a playmaker, especially this season. So he's going to find a way to get into rhythm. And last night, we didn't see that. There were times where I thought he passed out that I thought he should have looked to score. There are times where he looked to score where I was like, that's probably not your shot. So I don't think that's necessarily a Mazzulla thing. That's like, okay, we need to run actions to get him involved a little bit more because the ball is going to be in his hands no matter what. That's just the way this offense operates. It's going to be driving kicks. He's going to get aggressive and attack when he needs to. I thought he had a couple threes last night that might have shook him loose, and it never did. But I do think that the conversation around Tatum, it needs to change a little bit just because of, he talks about all the different things that he can do, how well-rounded he is as a player. And I feel like there was a lot of conversation around, Jason Tatum didn't score. He wasn't their leading scorer. He didn't do enough of this or that. But everyone kind of needs to take just a deep breath because I feel like it was the same thing in that Pacers series. And then at the end of the series, you see the stats coming out that he's, the first player since it was LeBron, Jokic, I think Magic Johnson, the list goes on and on of Hall of Famers to lead the team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And I do feel like, this is one of those moments where right now, yeah, you're looking at game one under a microscope, but at the end of the series, if the Celtics end up raising the Larry O'Brien Trophy and Banner 18, we're going to look at Jason Tatum and realize he probably ended up leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, maybe not steals and blocks with the way that Porzingis and Brown played on that end. But you kind of got to give the guy some pause because he is going to build up those stats over time because he stuffs the stat sheet so evenly.
It drives me crazy because a lot of people think that we are just biased, right? No, it's Tatum and you're defending Tatum. What people aren't understanding is Tatum is doing less and it's actually better for the team. And it's also letting Jaylen Brown become the superstar, right? He had a awful Game 7, bad Philadelphia series last year. Jamal Murray then went out, who was in the same draft as him and won a championship. He was the highest paid player in the league. He goes to the All-Star Game, slam dunk contest. All I'm saying is I think what Jason Tatum is doing on the court is elevating Jaylen Brown's game to superstar status. Your thoughts?
Absolutely. I completely agree. I almost think of it as think about when you have a star wide receiver that is or a star tight end, Rob Gronkowski, is coming across the middle and you have to throw multiple bodies at him no matter what. That's going to free up Julian Edelman on those little underneath routes. When you have a player that is that talented offensively, they are going to draw so much attention. I go back to, it was actually on the LeBron James and JJ Redick podcast. They were talking about the Celtics, and LeBron James was talking about how teams devise a game plan against the Celtics. And he said that, it's a well-rounded team. Everybody can beat you, but everything starts with Jason Tatum. It starts with how do you stop Jason Tatum, and then you worry about the other guys. And I think that in this playoffs in particular, we're really starting to see that. The way that the Heat threw multiple bodies at him, the way that the Cavs were suffocating him every time he got into the paint. He finally shook loose a little bit against the Pacers just because, I think Yumi and Skaz could probably put up 15 points against that Pacers defense. But, against a team like the Mavericks that do have some size down low in the paint, they have some guys that can defend on the perimeter that are bigger than most wings. They're going to be another team that is going to throw multiple bodies at Tatum, and it's only going to make life easier for the guys around him. So, the more attention that he draws from those defenses, the easier everybody else's life is going to get, and that's why the Celtics are winning games as easily as they are.
We saw Porzingis' immediate impact in Game 1. He looked great coming off the bench, hitting shots, great on the defensive end. What do you think are fair expectations for Porzingis going forward in the series, and would you continue to bring him off the bench?
If he's already coming off the bench, I don't know why you mess with the mojo. I mean, I know he was awesome last night. He gave them a really, really strong spark in that first quarter when he was coming off the bench. And I thought Al Horford still played great in the role that he did. So, I say keep the ball rolling and keep Al Horford in the starting lineup. But to me, this team is so bought in on just, playing for each other. It doesn't matter who has the big night. It doesn't matter who has all the stats. And if they want to put Porzingis back in the starting lineup, then I think that's okay too, because we saw how dominant he can be and how easy, again, he makes life for everybody, just being walking mismatch in those pick and rolls and the way that they can't guard him in that mid-range area, the way that he protects the rim on defense and shuts off those lobs. So it does, to me, feel like that is a situation where no matter where you have those guys, they're going to find a way to make an impact in their own respective way. I expect him to keep it up at a high level on the defensive end. I mean, he's probably not going to make every single mid-range shot the way that it felt like he did last night. I think that, like you said, the adrenaline's pumping through his veins. His first game in the NBA playoffs out of the first round, which was a crazy stat to hear. But he felt ready for the moment. He's going to be the biggest X factor in this series for the Celtics, and whether that's off the bench or in the starting lineup, I think he's ready to contribute no matter what.
All right, Kyle, I got a couple more for you before we let you go. 08 Celtics or 2024 Celtics, who would win? What's the betting line?
That is a question that someone asked me earlier this week, and I wanted to say 2024 Celtics, but the one pause that I have is I don't know what the heck this team does with Kevin Garnett. And that alone was enough for me to go back and be like, I'm actually going to take the 08 C's, because to me, it's just KG is just such a dog, and I just don't see him letting Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Rajon Rondo. I don't know if Kevin Garnett is losing to this version of the Celtics team, as talented and as balanced as they are. What's the line? I would probably say like 2.5 points, minus 2.5 points, 08 C's. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but to me, Kevin Garnett single-handedly is enough of a difference maker that, we talk about Kristaps Porzingis being an X factor. KG shuts that out.
I think Perkins would suck. And I think that they wouldn't be able to keep up with the 3-point shot. 08.
Perk would be a disaster against this version of the Celtics team. This would not be a Kendrick Perkins series if they were playing in a 7-game series. He would be played off the floor just like Daniel Gafford was last night.
Yep. But yeah, it's good. They still have to win this 2024 team, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Also, I know you're out in L.A. What's going on with Coach Hurley and the Lakers?
Supposedly, Coach Hurley was in town today. I just saw that it was 8 years, $100 million is reportedly what they're preparing to offer him. It's such an interesting swing to me. Like, you go from J.J. Redick, who is, LeBron's podcast buddy, but, I don't want to, diminish him to that. I genuinely think J.J. Redick is one of the most brilliant minds in basketball right now, just in terms of the direction that the game is trending. He has such an understanding for the personnel in today's league. He has such an understanding for the schemes that teams are running in today's NBA on the offensive and defensive end. And I think that, him being a 15-year player who played with a lot of guys who are still in the league gives him a little leg up in the personality end of that Lakers job. And then you go to Dan Hurley, who is, again, one of the most brilliant basketball X's and O's minds in the game today, but he's a very, very intense coach. He's someone that is screaming at his players, screaming at his coaches. He's constantly screaming on the sidelines. And you wonder how that fits in at the NBA level. Like, you look at guys like Brad Stevens, who made the leap to the NBA and did a great job. Billy Donovan has made the leap to the NBA and done a great job. But there are other great college coaches like John Beilein, for example, who was incredibly successful at Michigan, came to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it was an absolute disaster. So, I think that Dan Hurley would hold his own at the NBA level just because of how smart he is. But at the same time, I don't understand why he would want to leave that job that he has at UConn. UConn is establishing itself as one of the blue bloods in the country. They're going to get all the recruits that they want. He could set himself up to be almost like a Coach K figure for the UConn Huskies.
Or Gino Auriemma.
To blow that up.
Look at Gino's been there forever, right? I mean, he could be
right,
there too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, to be a guy who could have that type of legacy at a school, I know NIL makes things a heck of a lot difficult, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these coaches, dip out of the college ranks. But, I just don't understand why you would do that, to come to the Lakers, to coach LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which is going to be a handful. And, maybe they want him to be the next long-term coach of this organization and develop the players that they have now. But to me, it feels like a better job just to be the East Coast guy, stay home and coach at UConn.
So if he's not the guy, is it J.J. Redick? Could you see Sam Cassell?
Sam Cassell, he's someone who I think is more than deserving to jump up to the front of the NBA bench and be a head coach at any time now. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't been picked up already, but I would lean J.J. Redick. I'm seeing a lot about James Borrego popping up too, who was a head coach for the Charlotte Hornets for a while. Mm-hmm. But to me, it feels like LA needs a bigger name just because of the nature of the job and the spotlight and the pressure that comes with it. I would think if it's not Dan Hurley, if he decides that, hey, I'm going to stay home and stay at UConn, it's probably going to be J.J. Redick. But just as fast as the Dan Hurley name popped up in this coaching search, who knows what the Lakers might do next.
All right, one more for you here. Obviously, you're from Boston, Bridgewater, not Rainham, as we've been told. It's a border war. But what's a restaurant franchise that you get being out in L.A. that you can't get in Boston that you would recommend or that you wish was here in Boston?
Oof, that's a great question. I'm going to go with, it's called Leo's Taco Truck. It's not a franchise, but it is just the best Al Pastor tacos that I have ever had in my entire life. It's one of those on the side of the street. You just go out. They got the guy with the knife, and he's carving up I don't even know what El Pastor is. I think it's pork, and he has the little pineapple on the top, and he's putting on a show for you, carving up your tacos right on the spot. He's got the pineapple going and everything like that. Pick all your own sides. It is absolutely to die for. It is something that I crave it once a week. I go to it as much as possible, and if they had taco trucks like that, and maybe they do, I don't want to disrespect Boston like that. Maybe they do, but if they had taco trucks like that, I think the line would be out the door.
I'm looking at it right now. Do you see this, Skaz?
I'm looking at it right now. Kyle might have to be bringing a couple of these back next time he comes.
Oh man, I'm looking at that right now. Oh, look at those tortillas.
You know what I will tell you though? The only thing they do not have any good pizza out here. I would kill for a Town Spot pizza or Lion J's, like some sort of bar pizza. There is not a single good pizza. I've been out here for almost 3 years now. There is not a single good pizza place, I swear, within a 200-mile radius. So I'll send you guys some Leo's tacos, and you guys send me some bar pizza.
Done. Consider it done. Do they live up to Chessman's Pizza, which I don't think exists anymore?
I don't think Chessman's exists anymore either. That'd be a Scats question.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think that's long gone.
Yeah, that was the Bridgewater spot back in the day.
Late night. That's a late night spot right there.
Oh, they made a good linguiça pizza from back in the day. I'm looking at that here. I had to ask an LA question. I have done In-N-Out Burger, and it's fine, right? It's fine. But, yeah, I guess I need to adventure out to LA a little bit more and try some more food. Hey, who's the number one pick in the draft this year, by the way?
To me, it's Alexander Sarr, honestly. I don't think it's actually even that close. I know they're considering Zachary Risache, a French guy who played in the same league that Victor Wembanyama did. But Alexander Sarr, to me, this is going to be a tough comparison off the game that he played last night. But at his floor, to me, he's Derek Lively. He's someone that fits in the NBA right away, right now, as a lob catcher, as a rim protector. And he's someone that actually has a little bit of skill handling the ball and flashed a little bit of hope shooting the three-point shot as well. I know they have Clint Capella over there in Atlanta, but to me, he's the one that you're talking about in a draft that is kind of a crapshoot. He has the highest floor of any player in this draft.
All right, he's Kyle Irving. Check him out, everybody. He's Kyle IRV_. That's him on Twitter. Check him out over at the Sporting News as well. Kyle, appreciate your time, my man. We'll talk down the line.
Joe and Scaz, thank you for having me. Anytime, guys.
You got it. Appreciate it. It's Kyle Irving. People thought we had Kyrie Irving on the show earlier today, which I had to say no. Unfortunately, it's Kyle. But he gave us a great food recommendation, and that's always key to being a special guest here on the night show. We'll have more for you. We got musings as well. I'm Joe Murray. Let's get to the headlines. We'll tell you what's going on in this Red Sox game right now in Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub Headlines.
All right, Red Sox trail 4-2 right now to the White Sox, who've lost 14 in a row. Jarren Duran stole home. He stole home. Wow. trips, and that's a ton. It's great. But to actually tell fans not to have expectations annually, you suck. I'm sorry. That is I almost swore. That is a crappy answer. Crap. Because fans' expectations annually? What? I watch sports year in and year out because I want the team to win or I want the team to cover to go all the way because it's good for business and your assets, you jerk. What a jerk take. That's a jerk take. Oh, fans expect annually to be competitive. Yeah, no crap. Out on you. Out. He also thought the reaction from Tom Warner when he said full throttle were overblown. He seemed to misunderstand fans' anger over the state of the big league club. He goes, his comments were overshadowed every other word, paragraph, and interview of the winner because it reaches so deeply into the false belief that many fans and media have that you should mortgage the future each year for the present. You have to base acquisitions and dispositions on the future, not the past. That is unpopular generally. You, again, suck, sir. Telling people how they should think and feel when you're a big market team. Yes, you should mortgage your future to be better. You should mortgage stuff to be competitive. You should spend to be competitive. Like it's the Red Sox fault in belief. Are you kidding me? It's the fans' fault?
He couldn't have been more disingenuous in this take, too, where he says, do the math. It's not, it's a 1 in 30 or 1 in 20 chance you win the World Series. That's just blatantly not true when you're the Boston Red Sox. When you have the resources they have, it's going to be packed every night. John Henry's one of the richest owners in baseball, one of the richest owners in all of sports. It shouldn't be a 1 in 30. You should be competing with 10 to 15 teams a year, maybe less if you're the Boston Red Sox. You should be a top 10 team every single year. There's no excuses for it. And look, I've tried to defend John Henry at times, 4 World Series championships. He did a phenomenal job early on, but stuff like this, it's disheartening as a fan.
One more thing, and I see Einbein, our buddy Paul, who calls in all the time. I went through decades of the Sox suckage, he says, before Henry. I don't care what he says. It doesn't bother me. I also went through years of suckage.
Yes.
Okay?
So I don't want to go back to that.
I want them to be competitive every year. You know why? Because they fill out that ballpark every single night. Right? They fill it out, the jerseys, whatever you want to sell us. Do you know how many Red Sox shirts I have at my house that don't fit anymore? Because we bought them every year for Christmas. And hats. And jerseys of guys who aren't even on the team anymore. We bought them for years because you competed.
Saying stuff like that, it's like, do you want to be the Dallas Cowboys? Do you want to just look back and be like, oh, man, we won all those titles in the 90s? Like, that was awesome.
The Patriots won 6 Super Bowls, so now, man, they can suck now.
Certainly doesn't seem like Robert Kraft's getting a pass. So, John Henry, love you for the 4 titles. He's not getting a pass either, and he doesn't deserve one.
I think he's been a great owner. I do. Final one thing. I don't think people in my position can win publicly. Your words are often used against you. So the less I say, generally, I think is better. Yep, you suck. You do. You do. You don't. You know what? I think it's gutless when there's an absentee owner of a major market team that sends emails. I mean, at least Jacob sends his kid, right? They spend to the cap every year. Right? Wick's at every game. Palyuka's at every game. Kraft's there at every game. This guy hides behind the computer. Out! Musings is next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings got 2 of them for you tonight.
In your hands, Joe.
What do you think? The rear? Which one do we do first? Rear or carriage?
I think we start carriage. It's
okay.
It's the friendlier of the 2 stories.
Okay. And it went viral. Leslie Dobson isn't backing down after she declared in a now viral video, "I'm not returning my shopping cart, and you can judge me all you want." She says it's a matter of safety and she's not alone.
I'm not returning my shopping cart, and you can judge me all you want. I'm not getting my groceries into my car, getting my children into the car, and then leaving them in the car to go return the cart. So if you're going to give me a dirty look, off.
Whoa. It has nothing to do with being a cart narc. This has to do with just bare minimum. Man, that's what I feel like I need to make. Because of the machine, it went through her buttocks, into her insides.
Into her chest cavity.
Into her chest cavity.
Is what I read.
So, again, there's only certain places that you should be entering anything.
Joe, I saw a picture of the X-ray, and it's not just kind of in the chest cavity. This device, whatever you want to call it, was lodged into the chest cavity. So yeah, if you needed some more nightmare fuel with everything going on in the world, there's another one for you. Be careful when you're getting an MRI.
Charge. Another involved a nurse being pinned between the magnet and the gurney after transporting a patient to the MRI suite. Many experts in the field are concerned that the frequency of these accidents will continue to occur as MRI technology changes. This has prompted a call for more standardized MRI safety measures from providers and patients alike. Here's my recommendation. Keep with you.
Love Michael Cera.
He's got the voice of a...
It's my 65. Mick Foley is 59 years old today.
He'll be in Boston on Juneteenth. And he'll be at the Kowloon restaurant doing it. He's actually, you know what? It's the only live event that he's done. Absolutely love Mick Foley. I've met him, met his family. Great guy. One of the best wrestlers of all time. And he is the prototypical watch what happens when you're a professional wrestler and what happens to you. But one of the most respected people in the industry. Iggy Azalea, 30. She's only 34.
A friend of the Felger Maz Pro, Kova, former Russian tennis player. I got another one. NBA Hall of Famer, Allen Iverson. Born on this day in 1975.
Everyone's favorite player in the year 99.
He'll be 50.
Iverson's 48, huh? Christian McCaffrey's 27.
Bear Grylls, if you remember him from
was it Cross-Eyed, isn't he?
Man versus Wild or one of those shows.
Lance Reddick from The Wire.
Oh, R.I.P. He was awesome.
Very sad. I loved The Wire, man. So good. I don't want to talk about Mike Pence. Who else do we have
about
today?
Mike Madonna?
Oh, yeah. He's in the Mighty Ducks.
Born on this day in 1970.
Said Gordon Bombay was a hell of a player. Had that triple D. And it drives me crazy because it's a replay. But you're calling us complaining about the things that they say. And it really, really annoys me. Yes, Ice Cube. Today was a good day.
I came within 12 hours of dying, so it kind of changes your outlook on life.
All right, man. Well, when you didn't die, what was the first thing you thought of?
I just wanted to go home and walk my dog again. That's all I wanted to do. That was the most important thing to me.
Did your dogs miss you?
Oh, God, yeah. It was 2 months. Well, 2 months in the hospital and 2 weeks after that in rehab, and she was able to come visit and picked off at me because I wasn't. Then she ignored me.
Imagine that. Dogs have feelings like that? And I get it. Yes. I love dogs. I love dogs. But they're going to hold it against you that you weren't around?
Yeah. it was kind of like, where have you been, dude? I missed you. What's up? And then she ignored me. But like for the first minute and a half, she jumped in my lap and she was freaking out, barking and crying. It was hysterical. But dogs definitely have those kinds of
Dogs
emotions.
hold grudges, man, huh?
Oh, they do. They do. I have a lot of dog stories too. I've had 12 over the years, so anytime you want to talk dogs.
All right. Well, if I need the expert opinion of a dog, you're my guy.
All right. Hey, good, Joe, man. I love your show. I know I'm on here all the time. I'm probably annoying because I'm always on.
No,
but
you have validated. You have validated that a one-legged man returns his card. You should too.
That's right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'll get ratted out now if I don't. All right, Joe. Talk to you later, man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Thank you, man. Yep. See, a one-legged man does it. You should too. That could be on a T-shirt or a logo. Maybe just Ein Bein's leg saying "Return your cart." All right, we got to go. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Zone.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the road to Banner 18. This is the flagship station of the Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics swarm the floor.
WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Wesley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox are losing to the worst team in baseball. One of them, White Sox, right now, 6-2. And, well, we got another game 2 Sunday night right here on the Sports Hub. Headlines are brought to you by
Sports Hub.
Everybody knows Joe.
Just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You got to work.
So, it's Friday. Hey, we're going to do Joe Me the Money. The Belmont is this week, I believe. I got my horse picks. Horses.
Papa Scaz will be there.
Really?
Yeah, it's at Saratoga this year. He was calling me today. He's already got everything planned out.
Our buddy Barry
might
be listening.
Shout out Barry.
He has, Hooch. Sorry, Hooch.
Hooch, yes, Hooch.
Apologize, Hooch. He has told me all about Saratoga. He's like, you got to come with me. So I said, I will.
Yeah, my dad lives like 20 minutes, 25 minutes from there. He absolutely loves it. You can bring your own booze, I think. Just go and have a day.
We have a guy named Dalty in our chat who's being very salty. And, I like our chat that we have here. The 81 people watching on this Friday night. But I when someone wants, like I asked Einbein to call in, and he talked about it. It's like, hey, so if you want to, and I like Einbein because he doesn't want this to slow him down. So I respect everything that he says. Like I respect the man. How about that? I respect the man. Because me, I'd hate the world. I would hate the world if I couldn't get around. So, props. Sorry, Dalty. Salty Dalty. Prickly Dickly. Can I say that? Whatever. Hey, I wanted to bring this up real quick. The two best players on the Celtics, one was nervous before the finals. Right? Jason Tatum came out and said he was very nervous. And then I read this quote from Jaylen Brown, and man, do I now I get respect. Jaylen Brown on his plans before the NBA Finals. Quote, I don't have a family. I'm single. So I've been watching Harry Potter.
Yeah, he said, shout out to Dumbledore. Big Dumbledore guy.
This is the two stars. One was nervous and the other watches Harry Potter.
Boston is lucky to have these two guys.
Who's your favorite Harry Potter character?
Oh, that's a tough one. Oof. I mean, Dumbledore's got to be up there. I mean, Harry's the easy one.
Who's the...
I'm a Snape guy. I like Snape.
Who's the guy, the big guy? Hagrid.
Oh, Hagrid. Hagrid's a classic.
Love Hagrid.
Love Hagrid.
I would be a Hagrid.
I could see a Joe Murray Hagrid costume for Halloween.
I would pull off the Hagrid. Who'd be Voldemort?
I mean, one name did pop to mind. Might be familiar with this time slot. I think he might be a good Voldemort.
Oh, yeah. The predecessor.
Yes. Who we love.
Yeah. Of course we do.
But he would be a great Voldemort.
Huh. Who'd be Hermione?
Got to be Kendra.
Kendra? Okay. I'm going to see Kendra this weekend. She's on tomorrow morning. Oh, Mac's been on hold. I'm sorry. Mac, how you doing, Mac? I'm sorry to leave you on hold, bro.
Yo, what's good, Joe? Hey, don't worry about it, man. It's been entertaining to hear all this. No, I remember last night I stayed up to watch the post-game interviews, and I remember when Tatum said he was nervous. For a second, I kind of thought he was joking. I was like, oh, haha, that's funny, because he's actually been here now. And then I realized he was dead serious. It was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's not a bad thing per se. I'm not even nervous for him because, I mean, if you think about it, he had a pretty good game, man. He was getting swarmed the whole night. And his guys were getting wide open shots. It was not too bad for him, I don't think. But I don't know. I don't even think he's going to have a takeover game this series like everyone says. I'm perfectly fine if he just distributes the whole damn time and gets guys open shots. I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, man. Who's your favorite Harry Potter character?
Oh, favorite Harry Potter character? Dude, I thought that, I was a pretty big fan of Neville, right? I see a lot of myself in Neville because we're both dorks, except I can't do anything cool. Like Neville, occasionally has a moment where you're like, damn, like, wow, this guy's awesome. Like he's got this power. And then, most guys in real life, it's not that easy, Joe. It's not easy when you don't have the powers of wizardry.
When people talk Star Wars or like Harry, I don't know what it is. I'm a geek about wrestling, right? I liked Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul, and like Breaking Bad, Wire, Sopranos.
You got to tap in. New Game of Thrones next week.
By the way, when the finals end, we got to do Sopranos Scaz.
Yes, I'm on season 1, but we're working. We're putting in work.
Like Sopranos Scaz,
Late night last night, couldn't get any episodes in.
Morning.
Yeah, great theme song.
You're going to New Jersey soon, right?
Yeah, I will be at a wedding in New Jersey on Sunday night.
Yeah, you got to hit up Satrielli's and all them.
Well, Bada Bings?
The Bada Bing would be great.
I do love all the names of the places.
Oh, get you to the Bing.
Not a
Artie Bucco's.
Oh, love Artie. Not a Uncle Tony. Is it Uncle Tony?
Which one?
Oh no, Junior. I'm not a
Junior.
Is Uncle Junior not a fan?
Corrado.
Not a fan of.
So you don't like Corrado,
and I don't like the mom.
You don't like the mom,
but I think she's a great actress because you're not supposed to like her.
How do you feel about Bobby Bakalova?
Oh, love him.
How about Vito? Have you met Vito yet?
I believe so. Yeah, I think we're getting into side character territory.
Yeah. What about Silvio?
A little bit of Silvio, not a ton yet. I don't think.
He's the consigliere.
Yeah. Yes.
Who's also in the Bruce Springsteen's band. Oh, Uncle June. Man, I can't wait to talk to you about this. I cannot wait to talk to you about this. If I almost mentioned if we were going to make the Celtics a starting 5 of Harry Potters, who'd be who? Like, who would Drew Holiday be? Or Derek White?
It's like Remus Lupin, a guy you definitely don't know who that is, but just he's a glue guy, character guy.
Who's Harry?
Brad Stevens.
Oh, all right. And Hauser would be one of the Weasleys?
yeah, I could see that. Hauser and Pritchard. Hauser and Pritchard are the Weasleys.
All right. Hey, Joe Me the Money is coming up next. I got one more Sopranos question. How do you feel about Tony's sister, Janice? Have you met Janice yet?
I don't know. I feel like we gotten the mom.
Okay.
I don't know if I've gotten the sister yet.
Okay.
I got the I'm going through like the fake
Jimmy April.
He's like envisioning a woman that's like watching his neighbor's house, but then she wasn't really there. His doctor lives next door or whatever. The first season he like thinks he sees this like beautiful woman from Italy, and then he goes and talks to the guy, and he's like, yeah, no one was watching my house. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh man, maybe I gotta go back on it.
Like episode 12 or 13, season 1. It's big time therapy right now for Tony, which he needs it.
Oh, he does. Oh, so you've met Malfi.
Yeah, she's in the first episode. It's like a lot of the first episode.
Do you know who she is in other movies?
I do not.
She's the wife in Goodfellas.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought you meant like more recently. Yeah.
How dare you stand me up? The nerve! And then her mom. Anyways, Joe Me the Money. Coming up next. Here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Well, I wonder if Tony bet on the Red Sox tonight. Wait till you find that out, guys. Spoiler. Tony likes the ponies. White Sox lead right now 7-2 going into the 9th inning. They got a steal of home by Jarren Duran, and really not much else going on tonight. I'm Joe Murray, last headline of the night.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray.
Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money. Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it with meaning, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
No. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell at me.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
If it rains, I don't hate the Mystic Dan play.
Okay. I'm going a little off the board here.
You're not going Sierra Leone?
I am going to go Mind Frame. Undefeated. A perfect 2-2. Won both his races by a combined 20 lengths. A speedster. Mind Frame to win, place, or show. Another one to win, place, or show. For those that are, of course, dropping a little money on this. Dornosh. 15-1 odds here. Had a high stock at one point, has truly fallen. Great trainer. I think that Dornosh at 15-1 wins, places, or shows. And one more. I'm staying away from Seize the Day or whatever it is. Seize the Gray, excuse me. I'm staying away from Mystic Dan, but give me the Wine Steward to win, place, or show. Won his first 3 starts, all 3 races, led at the Peter Pan, of course. And all 3 victories were pure sprints. All 3 of his losses have been longer tracks. But the Wine Steward will win, place, or show. And if I have to give you a winner, I'm going to go Mind Frame to win the Belmont. And finally, we got NBA Game 2. Right now, the Celtics are -7. The total is 214.5. I think Dallas does a little bit better offensively, but I also think the Celtics do too. Give me over 214.5 in Game 2. Ring it! Show me the money. I love the ponies.
Papaskaz is a big jockey guy. He follows the jockeys, and that's how he places his bets.
Sometimes a great jockey can ride a horse to victory. Does John Henry own any horses?
Probably. He likes having his fingers in everything and nothing at the same time.
Well, hopefully he doesn't do an MRI anytime soon. All right, we got the final segment coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray.
All right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. We had fun tonight. Cerrone Battle was with us for 2 hours. So if you missed any of the show, you can go to 98.5thesportshub.com and listen to the podcast. But you can also go to YouTube and watch and listen to everything. So if you miss something, just go right back. Another cool thing I like about the YouTube feature is when we're live, you can still go back in time. So I kind of like that. So again, appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. The numbers were huge. We had over 400 people watching last night after the Celtics game. I think we had almost 100 people in there tonight. 60 are watching right now. The show is growing, everybody. We've been here for a year now. I think it's officially June 16th or something, but whatever. We've been here for a year. Show's growing. Ratings are great. Money's coming in. And we're here for a while. And appreciate the shout-outs and everybody following along with us. The John Henry thing I'd like to just dig in on a little bit. And again, I'll be back here Sunday morning. Skaz is going to a wedding, so he's out. You're out Monday, right?
I unfortunately will not be here Monday, but the great Jeff Williams will be here for all your Game 2 reaction.
Jeff.
I know, I miss Jeff.
I feel like I should do in or outs for Jeff.
Oh, I would love to hear that. Jeff's got takes.
Jeff, who does the weekends here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. And then we'll have extensive coverage as well on Sunday afternoon. I believe it's Alex Barth and maybe McCarthy. I don't know. I know Barth's on at one point this week. I'm on with Cerrone 1-4. And then I believe Sean Silver's in for a little bit, who's a part of our basketball coverage. And they'll take you all night long.
It'll be McCone and Dondero pregame into the broadcast, and then it'll be Cattles and Silver postgame.
Got it. So McCone, Dondero. All right. So we got a full lineup of shows on Sunday, and I'll be back here Monday with full reaction. And up this week, there's a bunch. There's the Brady night and this Game 3 of the NBA Finals. So we got a lot going on here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. So tune in all weekend long. I know the Kendra and Dan will be on in the morning, so they'll have a ton of bets for you, I'm sure. And then Leroy Irvin and Cerrone Battle are on 9 to 11. You'll get Gasper and Murray as well. And then, of course, full coverage on Sunday here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. But I do think that this John Henry story might need a little bit more coverage. And we got a minute or so to go here, but I just wanted to read a few things that he said. My wife and I live and work in Boston. We're committed to the city, the region, so the Sox are not going to come up for sale. We generally don't sell assets. So they're not selling, and they only look at the Red Sox as an asset. Henry held firm on the club's decision to avoid spending heavily in free agency and suggested fans hold unrealistic expectations. Quote, because fans expect championships almost annually, they easily become frustrated and are not going to buy into what the odds actually are. 1 in 20 or 1 in 30. Come on, bro. It's the fans' fault. He thought the reaction to Tom Warner's comments, Full Throttle, overshadowed every other word, paragraph, and interview of the winter because it reaches so deeply into the false belief that many fans and media have that you should mortgage the future for the present. You have the base acquisitions and dispositions on the future, not the past. This is unpopular generally. Henry reiterated a point he has made in the past about addressing the fans and concerns. He says, I don't think people in my position can win publicly. Your words are often used